mucus free. We are 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 mucus free.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Mucus-free Life podcast. And today I am on location in a very secret location. And we're going to have an excellent episode today. We are responding directly to you. You, the community, have requested that we talk about nutrition versus elimination paradigms. And so we have a panel assembled for today that I will bring out momentarily. But first, like always, thank you so much for being here. Go on down below, click the thank you button, which is the like button, and share this video while we're live. In particular, share this. Let's get a nice vibe going. Share video. And if you have comments and questions and all that good stuff, throw that in the chat, and we will do our best to address things as they come up if it goes along with what we are talking about. And I have a free training if you're interested in learning more about the Mucusless Diet Healing System and a bit about my journey. Go down below, click the link, and join me for a free training opportunity. And let's get into it. So let's bring on, we got Trayvond. What's going on, Trey?
Hey, how's it going?
We got JC. What's going on, JC? We got Brady.
What's going on, everybody?
And we got Monica. All right. So before we get into it, let's have JC introduce himself. Everybody else here has had the opportunity to introduce themselves in a couple past episodes. We got a new face to the panel. So JC, go on ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey everybody, my name is JC Ortiz-Roman. I am 25 years old, and I've been practicing this system for 2 years, going on 3 in November. I picked up this book when I was, I think, like 21, read it through. Nothing stuck, but I kept it. Thought it was pretty cool, and picked it up when I was 22, and lesson 5 completely changed my life. From there, I always had one earbud in, listening to Spira's channel, connected with Brady, and now I am the video editor and graphic design for the past couple months. My whole goal, bless you, Monica, thank you. Whole goal is to take Mucus-free Life's digital presence to the next level. Yeah, nice to meet y'all.
All right, man. So what's up, everybody? Give it up for JC in the chat and all that. But this is what we're doing. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes at Brady, Trey, Monica. We got Reese and Vadim. There's a lot of work that's going on. Annie. There's all kinds of things happening behind the scenes that you all don't know about, and but you will know about it really soon. And Hannah and Mia, and there's all kinds of stuff. Super excited about that when we start to roll some of these things out. I mean, you've already started to see some of the things. We got with the new food prep videos and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot more things that on the horizon. So let's get into it a little bit. Oh, well, first I got one more announcement. Guess what, everybody? We have something special for May. We got Mucus-free May is coming. So this is the big challenge, Mucus-free May. So the challenge is to be 100% mucus-free for the month of May. Can you do it?
Or as mucus-free as possible.
Or as mucus-free as possible. That's we already know this is a transition. We're talking about the transition diet. So just being mindful and being really mindful about what foods are mucus forming that you're eating, what foods are not mucus forming, and learning how to control the quantity of mucus forming foods. And just because one of the first steps is just being conscious about it and realizing like, okay, this is mucus forming. Let's see if we can strategize a way around it. Let's see if we can substitute something for it. Like I say, we're not out trying to dive in, no deep, and be 100% perfect and 100% mucus-free, 100% right off the bat. But this is the challenge. That's why we do real challenges. It's like, okay, how mucus-free can you be? And then maybe you start to realize, oh, maybe this is a little harder than I thought it was going to be. You don't really know what it is. Say if you've been raw, but you're not mucus-free and raw, then you don't know what we're talking about. This is hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to be 100% mucus-free. So hence the challenge. That's why we put a challenge on it. So that's Mucus-free May. And today, by popular request, we're going to be talking about nutrition versus elimination paradigm. And what I thought I would do to kick this off is see if I can. Now let me know, because I'm doing this from my laptop, let me know if this starts looking weird. Because I'm gonna have to, let's see here. All right, can you see the book?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I went through real quick and just hit a couple bookmarks. So I thought I would hit on these. So this concept of nutrition. So this is a quote out of Spira Speaks. I myself do not believe in the protein theory, vitamin theory, or the standard nutrition theories propagated by medical scientists. I do not think that the body can or needs to absorb and assimilate the dead elements found in dead foods for the purposes of gaining energy. This is what we refer to as the additive principle. If I go to that, additive principle, term coined by Brother Eyre that refers to the belief that the human organism needs to consume, accumulate, and use various forms of material matter to exist. Modern theories of nutrition and metabolism emerge from an additive concept whereby it is believed that the human body must take in and metabolize various elements not obtained through the breathing process to live. Eric rejects the foundation of the additive principle and proposes his formula of life, vitality equals power minus obstruction, which asserts that human life exists as a result of the non-accumulation and elimination of unnecessary matter. Mucusless fruits are identified to be the greatest eliminators of human waste, followed by mucusless vegetables. Therefore, a mucus-free fruit and vegetable diet will ultimately result in the elimination of unnecessary physical obstructions and cellular regeneration. If we go to this concept of nutrition, so this, I could sit here and do this for a long time, so I won't go too deep into this. This is etymological exploration. So this was a question asked to me by Samantha, my good friend. You are always researching and finding obscure information about the truths behind what we eat and what are in our foods and et cetera, et cetera. I'm wondering if you have a good source of where you research or how you research. So then I proceeded to get into exercising or demonstrating how I think through things by way of this nutrition theory. And I say, that's a great question. Below, I outline my initial process for researching concepts. First, I might begin with the concept or word that I want to understand better. Let's consider nutrition. I will initially begin with a hypothesis or thesis statement of what I intend to test. In light of Arnold Ehret's critique of nutrition, I offer the following thesis. The foundation on which Western dietetic and medical science is based is wrong. Then I consider the proposition, or what I think my research will ultimately reveal. Proposition: a critical examination of the historical origins of theories related to nutrition will reveal egregious flaws in the logic and science of the newly invented concepts. Then I ask myself several questions. What is the origin of the term? Who coined it? What was the socio-cultural circumstance under which the concept was created? In the case of nutrition, we know that early medical researchers assumed that humans were omnivorous. In other words, they assumed that their dietetic practices were natural and endeavored to develop a science to support these claims. Who else have you ever heard talk like that? I'm the only person I know of besides other people in our community that made this point. Think about that. The people that created these theories that we are so married to, they were wanting to support what they were already doing, and therefore created all these theories. Now, somebody could say that about us. Problem is, what we've done is we've pulverized with our lives, we've pulverized their theories, which are the theories that maybe you believe. So I didn't say what we're doing. It's fact. We can talk about what's factual by way of how we live, and those are facts. But I just said it's a thesis, it's a hypothesis that we have to explore, and this is the process of exploration. But we've already annihilated, or began the process of annihilating, the Eurocentric origins of these theories that are just based on highly problematic ideas. Then I look up the etymology of the word nutrition. So we get into the Latin nutritionum, a nourishing, from nurturer or nourish to suckle, etc. Above, I see the original notion of nutrition had to do with nourishment, particularly that of a mother nursing the baby, to suckle. Thus, it can be seen that the original concept of nutrition did not have to do with the notion that the body needs a particular kind of chemistry to survive. If we want to get real literal, let's go back to the origin of the word. It had nothing to do with biochemical, let's get these supplements and let's get all of this cow's milk and all this fortified vitamin nutrition C and all this. No, it was just literally a baby suckling on the mother. That is the nurturing. That is what brings nourishment, to bring up or nurture, to feed or nurse. The word nurse has this nurture, this nutrition, that's at the foundation of words like nurse. Again, to suckle, not to eat dead animal flesh. It has nothing to do with that. A very interesting etymological find indeed. As you can see, nourish is connected directly with nurturing or bringing up children. Nutri derives from nurse, or literally she who gives suck. That's said a little strangely. Yet again, the origins of this concept are rooted in a concept of nature. So now we're starting to, there's all kinds of interesting connections we can start to make. Nurture. So again, I could sit here probably for hours and get into all this nurture, nature, and this just gets into more examining, analysis, protein theory, calorie theory, so on and so forth. And all I ever ask anybody do is don't believe this. Do the research yourself. Go look at the origin of the protein theory. If you go through that and you're convinced that that was a good theoretical framework and that it's useful for you, then you have all my respect in the world. That's beautiful. Same thing with the calorie theory. You go back to Atwater's documents and you're like, hey man, I think he was on to something here. I like it. I want to live my life based on Atwater's theory. Then beautiful. But at least know that. because the majority of people that believe in the calorie theory and believe in the protein theory, they have never read Atwater's work. They have no clue that the origin of the word nutrition starts with this meaning to suckle. They don't have a clue about any of that stuff. Yet they want to fight with you about your beliefs on nutrition. They don't even know what the word means. There was a vernacular we used to say back in the 90s when I was growing up, that when somebody start trying to talk sassy, you'd be like, spell nutrition, just spell it. Meaning they don't even know how to spell it. They don't know nothing about the word. What we propose ultimately is a theory of elimination, whereby we are observing the ways in which the body are eliminating and observing that the body is always in a state of elimination. And anytime that state of elimination, the systems of elimination are impeded, we have problems that people want to call disease. And you can go do a deep dive on the history of the word disease, and we can get into that. But elimination, removal of physiological waste and encumbrances. The term is also used by erratists to identify short or extended periods of intensive waste elimination. These erratists use the term instead of the word sick, as the connotation of the latter is believed to be problematic. In parlance, a practitioner may say, I'm going through an intense elimination today, meaning that he or she is presumably eliminating large quantities of waste and experiencing various symptoms of human illness. Instances of elimination usually spur a practitioner to detoxify, fast, or abstain from mucus-forming foods. So this is one sense of elimination, using the word elimination. You'll hear us, members of our community, use that term a lot. You know, going through an elimination, or hey, how is your elimination is a question that can often be asked, which means, you know, how is your diet going? Basically, instead of saying, you know, how's the diet, is how's your elimination going? Because we are focused on elimination. How's elimination happen? Well, you have your bowels, you got your kidneys, you got your skin. But then, depending on how constipated you are, you start getting stuff coming out of your eyes, your ears, your tongue, your mouth. You know, you start to notice, oh, there's elimination that's happening everywhere. So vitality equals power minus obstruction theoretical framework suggests that if we are to remove that which is unnecessary in the body, that the air gas, the air, which is our primary source of, if you want to use this concept of energy, is the primary source of our energy, which is indisputed. See how much energy you have without breathing. Don't do that, because there's be somebody out there try to do that and they'll pass out. Don't do it. But think about it and realize that our entire existence revolves around our breath. And what's the breath doing? The breath is helping the body eliminate. So what are you doing when you're eating? Your eating is helping your body eliminate, if you view the body like that and you see it through that paradigm. So basically what I'm doing here is setting the stage for you to understand that paradigm. This is a paradigm of elimination, going from the idea of that we have to consume all of this, the stuff that basically, when you're talking about the supplements and the vitamins and all these things, follow the money. And the money is going to lead you back to corporations that are trying to sell you their products. They want to sell you their Flintstones vitamins. They want to sell you their, you know, whatever. People are trying to make some money there, as opposed to what we're talking about is you don't need that. You don't need the supplements. You don't need all these things that they've conditioned you that you think you should need, that ultimately what we're finding is not only do you not need it, but you operate at a higher frequency and a much better level when you don't deal with those things. And so that's my introduction to this, trying to set the stage of this paradigm of nutrition, paradigm of elimination versus nutrition. And so I will open up the floor. Who has some thoughts? And I'd be interested in some of you discussing how you thought about this, how your evolution from going from maybe how you would conceive of nutrition in the old manner, and then how going through this transition has, and your current studies have perhaps changed how you think about this or your paradigm.
I'm trying not to laugh because it's so normal. Like, these conversations are so normal, but me and Ani were going through Spira Speaks because we're building up the next book club round, and we get to like the first page or something, and it's like fundamentals, to eat or not to eat, and we're like, what the hell? So like your introduction could have like just totally totally pulled the rug on some people's lifelong beliefs. Right. And I don't know, just for myself, like it's been a journey, and it's like I'm still studying these things. Like we do it in the book club, and I'm still trying to process these paradigms and really, like, I guess the first step was just realizing that it's a paradigm, and realizing that nutrition is a theory, and it's something that can be questioned. It's not some kind of hardcore concrete facts. And when you actually go back to the origins, like you teach, like we did in the book club, it's a bunch of sadistic experiments and problematic assumptions and hypotheses. And you look at the history, you look at the science, and it's like, it starts to not really make a whole lot of sense. And it goes through different stages. And I think something I definitely want to talk about in this podcast is the fact that it's not like one flash, like one moment where like it can happen like that to a certain extent, where it's a blip in time and you're like, whoa, like I'm seeing this in a totally different way. But it's kind of like the amount of, and this is a point we made on an earlier panel podcast, it's like the amount of studying and experience and all of that you need to really not just like think it or not just read about something, but actually know it and be able to really know it. I think it takes a while. It's not just like an overnight thing. And hopefully we can get people thinking a little bit differently, and just expose them to a different alternative. People who don't practice the mucusless diet, or wherever they're coming from. Hopefully we can start to explore this a little bit and put it to them in a different way that they might not have thought about before.
Yeah, that made me think of the word epistemology. Does everybody know that in the chat? Epistemology. I like that word, the theory of knowledge, especially with regard to its methods, validity, and scope. Epistemology is the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. And I like that framework, that kind of thinking from that standpoint. How can we know something? How can we know what is knowledge, and how can we know it? How can we know thyself? It's in one of those laws, for lack of a better term, know thyself, or one of those, or a guiding principle maybe. And to me, that's Mucusless Diet Healing System is all about the epistemic process. You are learning how to know that you're through the Mucusless Diet Healing System. You're learning how to know yourself, because I've often said you haven't met yourself yet until you've really started going down this path, because we're high, you on the meat and the dairy and all that kind of stuff and the processed foods and all of this mess. If you've never gone a period of time without that stuff, you've never really met who you really are. And a lot of people they stay in that space, kind of scared, because they're actually scared of who they are. You start really getting into this and you're like, oh, that's who I am. It's like, yeah, that's who you are.
It's funny because I was just telling him that in the meeting. I was like, whoa, like I can see, I'm pretty sure Brother Air wasn't, I don't know where he was getting at, but when he mentioned the whole 10-year period, I'm like, man, I can kind of see like why he would say he would need to have a discussion with people in 10 years, because this practice is basically like at every point kind of pulling up a mirror of you, just putting you in front of that mirror, and you got to deal with yourself and face yourself. And some people, they do run from that. Like what I went through lately, all of that stuff just cycle back around to, yeah, this is you. Like you see this within everybody else, but this is like coming out of you. And it's like, these are things that you have to deal with. It was like, man, like, yeah, this thing, it does get challenging, and you start to face things that like your parents went through and things like that. And it's just like, man, like we really don't know who we are. And we go through all of that stuff just to, clear out and try to figure out and put it back together. So this is an interesting path.
Yeah, that coming down off the stimulant. I was speaking with my girlfriend, who's also a practitioner, today about an experience I had in February, where my first year of my practice was like very volatile. Like I forced myself into a lot of modes when I shouldn't have been. I didn't really understand how important transition was. And I had foods that I thought I was so far away from come back, because I was vegan for like 3-4 years before I took up this practice. Granted, I was more of like a starchitarian, but it started getting cleaner towards the end. And that summer, because I started in November, and then that summer after, I was elbow deep in nacho cheese Doritos, sour cream and cheddar Ruffles, like flavors of chips that I had forgotten about. But I remember like they were, we won't have to go that far, but I thought I got away from it because I worked really hard at the transition after that. I found all the baby steps that I skipped over. And in the middle of a fast in February, I was laying down, and it was like textbook how Eric talks about, like, when you crave meat, like, have a sweet potato, like, hey, like, be careful. It was that for the Doritos. And it was like, granted, it wasn't something super deep. It was a moment of like, this is where you're at. Like, you're not that far away from stuff, from what you view as bad. And yeah, my thing is, though, is like, from an eliminative paradigm, like, I understand what's going on and I understand the steps I need to take. So it's not the end of the world. But when I think about this from like a nutrition paradigm, it's like when I see people fall off of the path, they're always saying, it's like, well, I needed this nutrient, I needed this, whatever this material that this food had to offer. But right there, what do nacho cheese Doritos have that of like a vine ripened grape can't provide? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That is a hyper processed food that is less than 100 years old. So that to me is like where things really start to fall apart. But I'm already in the eliminative paradigm. I left the nutrition paradigm a long time ago, but even that's a great change.
Yeah, but Doritos have protein though.
Exactly.
So
the
you're
nutrition
saying,
theory can justify the McDonald's eater, the nacho cheese eater, the keto eater, the Dorito eater. And that's
So-
my problem with the theory. It's like, okay, if a theory can justify so many, like, obviously bad, diets that have sent people to their grave. Like I've seen them send people to their grave. It's just not something I can agree with. And then it even came about. I'm a big fan of looking at the nature side of it. So it's like, okay, you want to say that we're omnivorous, and this is where you came up with the concept. Now let's go down that path of, oh, humans are omnivorous. Really? Are you omnivorous? You will eat anything. You will go stick your face in a trash can and eat it, right? I doubt it. I doubt it. Even trash diggers are picky. You know what I mean? They're not just gonna get anything in that trash dumpster. It's gotta be wrapped and safe and something.
Right.
And then people want to call themselves carnivorous, right? There's that whole image of the lion eating the intestines and the waste first, the internal organs, right? And it's like, are we really carnivorous? Like does that sound good to you, right?
Yeah.
and,
You gotta.
and then and
Yeah.
then you look at what people are really eating, right? They're not eating fresh killed meat. Okay, if you want to truly look at the diet of the standard American, or people who eat, I would beg to differ that that's more of a vulture, a scavenger type diet, in my opinion, if you're going to really judge what people are eating, because this is so dead, rotting, putrid food that's being consumed. I mean, McDonald's bids on the meat at the farms, and they bid on the cheapest, most putrid meat that they can get for the cheapest amount. And I know someone who shared the story who still eats meat, and they actually go get their item butchered, and they go to these auctions. They find like the healthiest one that they want, and they have that cut up. But which I still don't agree with. But they said that McDonald's was there, and they bid on the most diseased animals. So like that's from a like person who witnessed it, not just something you read online or somebody said from somebody else. No, this person like witnessed this happening, and that's what we consider food. Like that, a vulture would eat that. I don't even think even a carnivorous animal would go kill something first if it could, and eat the fresh meat versus something that's been sitting there rotting. That's left for the vultures. So yeah, it's
But it
real
tastes good,
hard.
Monica.
It's, I was when I read it in the Mucusless Diet Healing System, that the nutrition theory was, I felt this huge sense of relief because I had been studying that for so long and trying to count my calories and figure out herbs that had the most this nutrient and that. I was like, it was a weight off my. I was so relieved to know that this was bogus. It was like a huge weight off my. And then to read it all, like in the book club, and do all the homework. Like my internal being already believed right off the bat. They knew this was wrong, right? My being knew it. But it was like, now let's back that up with the knowledge, with the information, with the studying, that it is just a theory. One or two white pus filled men decided that this was going to be and some food mongers who wanted to sell food in a commercial said, oh, this theory backs up what I'm trying to sell. So now it's being marketed and advertised. And that's how we're getting this information. This is the pathway that the nutrition theory has come to 99%, 99.9% of the population. And this is what we believe without question? Without question. Because, I mean, Spira, you said one person you have met. One. that actually read the theories and believed them.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. That is,
and you've
and it was
spoken
a
like
yeah,
this is
yeah.
all
He
you
was a
talk to.
that was one person. There was one professor of mine years ago that actually knew what I was talking about when I started talking about Francois Magendie, and like he had just read all that stuff, and he was impressed that I was bringing it up. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's my piece, like that, and then living just the lifestyle that I've been living. I'd be dead if the nutrition theory was true. We'd all, right here in this planet, we'd all be dead right now. But if you put together the amount of fasting and juicing and non-oil eating periods of time, mucus-free moments, like we would have emaciated and died by now.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind.
Yeah, it
So
never ceases to amaze me how effective they've been at marketing this concept of nutrition. It's been masterful because they literally have been able to follow the number one rule of advertising, convince the viewer or the person that's looking at the ad that they need your product, even if they don't need your product. And
right.
so what better way to convince people that they need your product than say, well, you'll die if you don't get this. So you might as well buy this from us. You'll die if you don't eat enough protein. So get your protein from us. It's like if the foundation of your framework is wrong, then the whole thing is it's over. It's, their whole marketing campaigns, whether it's McDonald's or all the cereal that you look at or all this stuff, is based on the assumption that you believe in mainstream nutrition theories and particularly the protein theory. They get a lot of mileage out of the protein theory, a decent amount of mileage out of the calorie theory. Then if they want to target some people that are a little more health conscious, now they start, you see an ad about macros, and they'll get a little bit more in the weeds. If they want to grab it, they'll try to grab a few more people over that are supposed to be more conscientious and a little healthier, but they're all stuck. They're all trapped in this snake eating its own tail theory of nutrition, because it's the ultimate paradox that, again, based on their scientific framework, there's plenty of studies that you can go to, and you can see that dead animal flesh eating is linked to heart attacks and strokes and type 2 diabetes and osteoporosis and so on and so forth. You can find those studies, yet there's a claim that you have to eat these things or you will die or you will be deficient. But now you just created a paradox. And why am I one of the only people to really bring that up, that this is a paradox where there's a problem with that? There's a problem with your theory that has to be worked on. Like, you got to go back to the drawing board. If this was a dissertation, your advisor would send you back and say, this isn't ready yet. You need to do more work, because you got a paradox in your theory. This won't pass. Yet somehow this thing,
They were like, nah, just send it. Just send it. We don't think about it. Just.
But even if you get away from like all of the research, you would just look at society and how like we're going. Like, if you look at, you wouldn't need, if the protein theory was so true and the nutrition theory was so true, and we wouldn't have all these marches for cancer and we wouldn't have all of that. We wouldn't need all of that. It wouldn't exist. If that was true, everybody would be getting the nutrients that they need because everybody's eating meat. Everybody's doing the thing that they told them to do. You can see that in society. So if people weren't doing that, then, then that would be a problem. But they are doing that. So we should try to figure out, okay, if they are doing that, then why do we still have this problem? It's just obvious. You can see it.
Yeah, I've asked my mom, like, go back, like, what was life like, back in the small town, in the village, up in the mountains where you grew up? There was no nursing home.
Right.
There was no nutrition theory. There was you could count probably on one hand how many, obese people there was. There was old people everywhere. How many people were special needs? Probably you count them on one hand too. I said, but yet now let's fast forward. Now there's so many nursing homes.
All right.
So much death. And it's like, oh, people are living longer, but living longer how? Like on a deathbed with a whole bunch of machines? How many special needs children are there? I actually worked at a school. I'd never realized how many existed that are being hidden, because, they just keep them home or, that sort of thing. And they're suffering, because of diet. I could see behavior happening directly following what they either want to eat, have eaten, or or in the process of eating, and literally you can see this shift in behavior immediately. And it's wild to me that we can't connect the dots. It's like they say we're mental, we've got the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect, and the physical aspect. But why is it that the physical is always, oh, we don't worry about that anymore. like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to church. Well, we don't talk about food. We have donuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna eat some.
Yeah, no,
now.
we're gonna pray over the
alcohol
food that's gonna
and mucus.
that's gonna give us a stroke or a heart attack, but it's okay because we said a prayer over it.
Right.
We said, bless this food, for as it is killing us, we give glory.
We'll be numb to it.
We'll be numb to it. It's part of the tragedy of nutrition. Like that's tragic. It's
tragic.
Like we can,
absolutely.
And let's see. Here's a question from Adam. What about what we generally call hunger? What elimination process is that? So I can answer. Is anybody here want to take a stab? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been listening to the coaching calls, and oftentimes hunger is the stomach acid just kind of irritating the walls of the stomach. And especially if you're eating a wrong diet, you're going to have extremely acidic stomach acid. So you're just going to constantly be burning through what you eat and then getting irritated, burning through what you eat and getting irritated. But as you transition and your diet starts to become mainly mucusless fruits and vegetables, or, you're fasting for the majority of your day, the body isn't really being disturbed. There isn't much of a change of chemistry, and you just kind of live in this balanced state. And so you don't really experience hunger in that way as often. But that's my answer.
Yeah, good answer.
I like to add on to that too.
Yeah,
I like to add on to that too. Another part of it is the food really not eliminate it from our bodies, basically. And when some of it do eliminate, we still have like residue left on our colons and things. So that's why it's important to do the enemas because once you bring the enemas in, it's gonna flush some of that stuff out and get it moving. The same way as we eat food and it get trapped in our tongue and our taste buds and stuff, and we brush our teeth to get rid of it. We have to do like the same thing for our colon to like flush all this waste out and keep it moving so we don't have those cravings.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'll add a little to that too. Some of it is kind of like what JC was talking about, those cravings, right? We kind of mistake that for hunger as well, when in actuality what's happening is the toxicity is being released into your bloodstream, and you can taste it because that goes to every orifice of your body, including your mouth and your tongue, because we've got blood vessels everywhere. The neurons in your brain that make you see the food, the ones that make you taste it, the ones that make you smell it, you can hear it on the commercial, you know what I mean? Every sense is all of a sudden, oh, the hamburger looks real good, right? And then but what's happening is your body's in the process of eliminating it. Now if that isn't going away, that means those eliminative channels are not functioning at a high, at optimal levels. So for example, if it's not able to get out through the colon, or it's not able to get out of the fine sift of the kidneys, what we need is something to help dissolve it, which the best dissolvers would be, depending on how aggressive it is, right? Depending on your physiology, you may need to neutralize it. It might be too much and you can't get it out, then you want to go veggies and green juice, world. If you're a little more cleaned up in your physiology, fruit juices and fruit will help dissolve, or fasting. But that's just a sign of things are not getting out, and you're feeling it. It could be in the form of a craving, a headache, also all sorts of different forms. But that's also comes in the form of, oh, I think I'm hungry, this sounds good. So that's my little take on that one.
The way that you described that, just the whole time, it made me think of drugs. Just like, that's the way that you described it.
That's how I feel. I think it's addictive. It's hard. It's not easy.
It's like, yeah, like you're fiending for something and now you got to go get it. Like, man, that's what hunger is.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long to be on the diet to where, the whole concept of being hungry fundamentally changes, because that when you really neutralize those acids and that stuff, it's like, I mean, that the definition of that word literally changes, where you can use that word like, oh, I'm hungry. It doesn't mean the same thing at all is what it used to mean, and what it means when plus a mucus eater uses that word is a total different kind of thing. And but yeah, that was right on point there. What everybody was saying, and because you're talking about the elimination of acid, and when you neutralize, the neutralization process is in itself an elimination process, because you're eliminating the most toxic element of that out of your system, and it does it in multiple ways. As far as, because some of that's going to come out as gas, some of it you can urinate it out, some of it might come out your skin, but it's coming out. Some of it come out in a bowel movement, some in an enema, but however it comes out, it's going to be neutralized and come out.
Some through crying because it's emotional.
yeah, you go through your emotional elimination. And let's see, Adam had a follow-up. Said, would you consider the carnivore diet a camouflage fast?
As a camouflage constipation.
You're stretching it, Adam. You're pushing it a little.
Not a healthy one. It wouldn't be a healthy one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a camouflage. It's really you're having the effect that people had with the Atkins diet, and which I ought to bring that quote up, because I think I explained that in Spira Speaks, because this is way before all the modern, because these things cycle around and they repackage the same stuff. for hundreds of years. It's like literally they just repackage the same concepts, and so they're, the keto, it goes through Atkins, keto, paleo, carnivore now, and it's like none of this stuff is real. The definitions of them, because there's no human that is truly living like a real carnivore. There's no such thing. Go, like I always say, go find me the human that could jump on the back of the animal out in the wild and sink its teeth in, kill it with we have such strong jaws. Yeah, sharp teeth, and our jaws are insane. We can just crush bone with our jaw strength, right? And jump on the back of that animal, do that. And then once the animal's dead, you already know, you got to go for the gut. Go for the gut. And
You already know.
Yum, diarrhea. I mean, just talking about, if you're a real carnivore, just talking about diarrhea will make you like your whole you just
Get excited.
Your mouth will start to water. You get excited, like, ooh, diarrhea time. I love to I love to eat diarrhea. So that's the carnivore. There ain't no such thing as no human carnivores. There's people that are that think they want to live like their extinct ancestors. I want to be like a Neanderthal. Let me eat raw dead animal flesh. I want to get in touch with my dead relatives. It's like, okay, you can do that. And like we say, the deceptive thing is just like, because I can give you cocaine. I guarantee you will get some energy. You will feel good for a while. It's a nutrition. Get some more good nutrition and some cocaine. The problem is it's a stimulant. You're screwing around with your neurons and the whole chemistry of your body, and ultimately results in a poisonous, toxic kind of situation. And that's with this meat, dead animal flesh thing is decaying down into this poison. And you can feel, just like with cocaine, you can feel good on it for a while. You can do the raw meat thing and go get strung out and be like, man, I'm feeling so good. Look at all this energy I got and all this kind of stuff. And some people can sustain that longer than others. But sooner or later, the principles are the principles. Humans had been fruit eaters much longer than vegetable eaters, and had been fruit and vegetable eaters much longer than they had been eating starchy stuff and eating insects, and they've been eating that stuff much longer than finally graduating to dead animal flesh. And you think they were eating dead animal flesh every single day? Might have started out once a year, then once a month, it wasn't no eating all the time. And even our close ancestors, your grandparents, your great grandparents, depending on where they were at.
Yeah, they didn't eat meat.
They weren't eating meat every day. It wasn't no fast food. They might have ate meat once a month, once a week.
At the wedding, at the big celebrations where they'd cut open an animal, because that was a prized possession. That's not something you just did, just cut.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
but I wonder how that started. Like, who was the first person that was like, look at, just, yeah, how did that thing start?
That would be an interesting.
Because we were watching the documentary of the history of like English breakfast, the history of bacon and eggs, and we were there's a part in the documentary. I took a bunch of screenshots, but it's the lady who's sort of hosting the thing and running the documentary, and she's standing beside a pig pen, and like her and the farmer are talking about just how delicious they look, And it's like, that's got to be the last thing on the planet. Actually, no, that's not true. I would say seafood. If you look at like crabs in the ocean or squid or things like that, and you're like salivating, like I can't even relate to that, because I never felt like that as a child. I never felt like that, growing up. But I was always confused, because it's like, how can you look at that the slimy thing in the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean, and be, salivating and crave that? So I wanted to touch on something a little bit earlier, because people trace the nourishment thing back to, back through like Atwater and that kind of stuff. But I always wonder, like, how far back does that really go, to where we think eating is a source of nourishment? And the earliest thing that I read was Aristotle's On the Soul. And he's talking about what Eric was dealing with when he was referring to, at least I think, physiological chemical transformation. And then the other thing about you are what you eat, like literally, like that waste becomes your body essentially. But yeah, Aristotle, and I'm not going to go into the way that professor in that class explained the theory, but Aristotle in that book, this is thousands of years ago, and he's touching on nutrition and that idea that you need to eat these foods in your body and your vital substance and your source of energy, and you're not going to be existing without that. So but then you go down through the history closer to present day, this thing still get a little bit into the respiratory, like the respiration, oxygen, carbon dioxide, measuring those things. And so it's like there's that little glimmer of like, okay, a little bit closer to the air gas engine, but then in comes this these old ideas of nourishment. And it's like, how old is this notion? And I think it goes, you're talking about history is vast. It's like, how far back does that go? And what caused us to think that in the first place? Like, I have to eat this to survive and to exist. But there's some fuzzy noise. Oh, I don't know what that was, but
yeah, it was some interference. I'm not sure whose end that's on. But that's a good, the Aristotle. Yeah, and I think back about just the ancient mythologies and the oldest stories that we have. It's if you go back to a lot of the gods that eat, and I'm just using the word, the demigods or gods, or just these immortal beings, or mostly semi-immortal beings or whatever, but the eating tends to be a choice for them.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement. They don't have to. They're immortal. They're not gonna die if they don't eat something. But you'll see the eating process as this indulgence in something that they don't have to do, and which can often result in them experiencing some kind of fall, or being taken advantage of, or if they go and they want to indulge in drinking, and then all of a sudden somebody takes advantage of you. And there's a number of the old myths that there's one I'm thinking of. It's like, that has that dynamic in it, where somebody uses food. It's like food tends to be used as a way to control.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I'm seeing. Somebody can argue like, well, that's how you guys see it because that's what you guys see is, well, okay, yeah, we do see it that way, but take a look back at all those old mythologies. The only time it seems like when it's really not framed as a control, it's more framed as something that you need to do, and somebody could even argue there's a control element in it, but would be the Genesis 129, 130, but I've always looked at those messages as not as commandments as much as telling you what the laws are. Like, these are the natural laws. If you're going to eat anything, then you eat the fruit, but stay away from that over there. Don't eat that. That's bad. Don't eat the bad fruit. Just eat. You got all this fruit to eat. Just eat that. But humans like, I want the bad fruit. Let's go. Let's go discover suffering. Let's discover and let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's see how much suffering and pain can we endure. For how many generations can we just break all these natural laws and experience this death cycle and this get lost in the eating? How much can we do that? That's my interpretation. That's how I read it, and because it seemed like things were pretty good until folks broke the one rule. It was like, well, you got one rule, you got one job. Eat the fruit. Don't eat that over there. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, if I could come in, Brady, that concept that you were talking about, the nutrition concept, and wondering how far it went back. What came to mind for me was like the stimulation concept. It's like that for me changed everything. Like, I'm very much with you. You spoke about how when Eric talks about like when meat comes into contact with air, it becomes a stimulating poison. And that's why meat is so stimulating. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't remember how I felt the last time I ate meat. It's been a while. So I always kind of struggled with remembering that. But my girlfriend, like, she would still hang out with her friends that did eat meat. And she would tell me, like, I went out to this place, and after they ate this burger, they were literally bouncing off the walls. They were going crazy. And when you think about these stimulants, like dead animal flesh, secretions of an animal, fermented food of some kind, or, hyper-processed food that man-made isn't tend to be pus-forming unless it's from an animal. But all of these things are like incredibly stimulating, and sometimes they can be masked as nourishing. Like right now, there seems to be well, not so much now, but before there used to be a big thing about like meal replacements. Like, I know there was a company that I don't want to name, but they were coming out with stuff that is like all your nutrients are in this one thing. And Eric even speaks about it. It's like any of these like processed, concentrated foods, even if they're of vegetable origin, they're just stimulants. And they can mask that it has everything you need and you're going to feel better. But that's because the elimination of morbid waste that you were going through, which feels god awful, has stopped. And now you're getting that circulation that makes you feel like you're Hercules. But it's complete pseudo vitality. And you can go way, 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 way back when people were getting high on the hog once a month. But they must have been like, there's something about that I'm not getting in the fruits and vegetables. And that's total theory, but if you go down far enough, then you get the guys who are just white knuckling this protein radical. We're gonna find it. It's gotta exist. And man, they're measuring poop. They're measuring the gas that comes off an animal carcass, a dead animal carcass. Like, oh, nitrogen. That's it, boys. Like, keep it going. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. And then you see now we have we have patches for nutrition. We have soft gels for nutrition. Got to get that premium cod liver. You know, you got powders, you got liquids. Look at a colonoscopy. Look at just that black filth on a colon. You're telling me that little soft gel of cod liver is going to
get
clean that
Spira
out?
going here.
I know. I'm trying. I'm poking. I'm prodding the bear. I'm
We're
prodding the bear.
gonna be watching intestines in a second.
Hey, come on.
Colonoscopy.
Get this video shut down. But sorry, got me riled up.
but I was having a conversation with Ruben earlier today. Shout out to Ruben if he's watching or in the comments. But he always has really interesting things to say, and he made this post, and it just got me going. And I'm reading a bunch of books on like the physiology of taste, the flavor of meat and meat products, diet and behavior, different things like that. And when you look at stimulation, addiction, and there's a lot of different definitions of addiction, so you'd have to choose one, but all these different ways that we see the mucusless diet, or we see foods. And I have this, like, why I keep looking down here is I have this like crazy mind map going, but you know, it's just making me think all these things are tied together. And I've been fascinated with addiction because Spira has the 4-part series on addiction to pus and mucus forming foods. But when you look at pain, and we talked about this, and Spira literally just mentioned it, that like literally just contemplating an existence without pain, because it's almost like people are addicted to that and they can't do without it. But there's also a lot of psychological theories and us needing pain, like we need, you know, no pain, no gain, and the whole gym bro culture. And a lot of these things, it's like you have to suffer to grow. You have to be in immense pain. The more pain you experience, the more you're going to grow and develop. And it's like, yeah, but maybe not, you know, maybe not. And then there's like motivation theory, where like pain is this great motivator. You got to, me and JC were talking about that, just to like, you know, putting pressure on oneself and putting oneself through pain to cultivate whatever discipline or whatever it is. So as I was typing, I was thinking about all this stuff, and I was talking to Ruben, and it's almost like addiction might be able to be seen the same way as pain is seen. And I could be totally wrong about this, but if you think about pain, it has a function, and it's like signaling to us, like we're either doing something. If you break your leg or something, it's like, okay, something's definitely going wrong. If you put your hand on a hot stove and you grip it, something's wrong with that. Like it's unnecessary pain. And in one of the recent meetups, we're distinguishing between necessary suffering and unnecessary suffering. And necessary suffering in a mucusless diet perspective would be the pain that comes along with elimination. And then unnecessary suffering is beating yourself in a padded room with a wiffle bat and just like there's nothing good. There's nothing you're gonna learn. There's nothing beneficial there. But there's everything in between those two things. And it's like you could go right down the list. It's like we look at exercise, we look at whatever, like gluttony, people eating contests. You look at all these different human experiences or modern human experiences of what people are doing in this world. And almost all of it involves suffering and pain. But how much of it is necessary or beneficial in the long term? Like, what is any of this going to lead to? And yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about, just pain and existence without pain, and like what pain do I need to experience? And I study like different, just look at different Shaolin traditions, and I'm not judging. I actually get a lot of benefit from studying these different things. But it's like, if you look at the body, I mean, in the way that we talk about in the book club, and I'm not trying to take this too far out, but if we were to get healthier and healthier and healthier and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, and our physiology was to transform into a state where we no longer experience pain and suffering as we physiologically do right now, you know, what would be the sense in doing like a lot of these activities that are out there? Like,
well, yeah, well, that's
like
yeah,
what's the point? What's the point of this, right? So
yeah, well, and that's the thing, and that's where you can get into some of the folks who had different theories about this whole existence, this human that we've eaten ourselves down into this condition because, you know, some people say curiosity, where we were curious on in really trying to experience all that mortality has to offer. And other people say we got stuck, or we had some kind of flaw that had to work its way out. Even if it was like a minuscule little flaw, then it took this whole process to work its way out. And it made me think of sometimes if I'm talking with certain kinds of spiritually minded people, then I'll come at it from a more Buddhist standpoint, where I'll say, so there's no good or bad, there just is. And the question is, if you reach a point where you no longer want to experience pain and suffering, then here's a path physiologically to remove the pain and suffering. So far be it for me to get in the way of your pain if you want the pain. If you want to live in the suffering, then what I've learned how to do over the years is, as we say, get out of the way. So the people that are running toward the grave, just that they're bound and determined to do that, and while they get there, they want to experience the jumping out of the planes, and you know, they want the full experience. They really want to get the full experience of pus and mucusdom. Then don't let me get in your way. You know, like just try not to hurt us or anybody else as you run and dive into your coffin. Like, just leave, you know, don't hurt nobody else. But if you want to hurt yourself, I have no problem. But that again, that gets back. It's like the tragedy of our condition, because it's the addiction, and that's why I always say study the nature of addiction. And sometimes it can be a little easier to do because they make so many documentaries on addiction to name your disease, the heroin and marijuana. Now we got all the methamphetamine, fentanyl. Go spend an hour watching some of these YouTubers that go out into homeless encampments where fentanyl it's basically like a fentanyl colony. And look, does that look comfortable? Does that look like the kind of existence that you want? See, if those people had a little bit more control, they would be able to institute and consider fentanyl as nutritious, as a nutritious requirement, that you can't exist without your fentanyl. You can't function properly. You can't exist if you could take any drug, and if you take the most high functioning people on that drug, and there's literally there's some of these interviews that they've taken with these people on the street, the fentanyl addicts, they will justify and rationalize what they're doing as what's not only is it not that bad, it actually helps them. You know, it helps them be acute. You know, get my little fentanyl. I'm not addicted to it. It's good for me. Take that and just transfer that on over to pus and mucus, and you have a better understanding of what we're dealing with, because you're not going to convince the fentanyl addict that they're addicted to something bad. They think they're, you know, if they don't know already, then they think it's good. A little bit, a person that's a little bit more elevated, a little smarter, might be addicted to it, not able to get off of it, but they know that it's destroying their body. They know that it's poisonous and that it's not good. But there's plenty of them that will make every excuse in the world as to why they should be consuming this, and to the point where they would make a fentanyl pyramid with fentanyl at the top, eggs and bacon down below. Like, you know, they have the fentanyl pyramid if they were functioning at a high enough level to create that in society. Meat eaters have been able to, you know, to function for a period of time at a high enough level to be able to do that. It's a different kind of stimulant. It's like we say, not all drugs and not all stimulants are created equal, but the kind of suffering, the kind of degenerative diseases, the kind of diseases that babies are being born with as a result of eating these things are abominable. You know, just and then inexcusable for anybody that knows just a little bit about what we're talking about and what the human potential is. And
because at some point we can't be totally ignorant to the fact that what is healthy and what is not. I mean, someone sticks a salad in front of you and then a McDonald's meal, another one. You choose the McDonald's meal, but you're smart enough to know that the healthy meal is the salad. So I don't buy all this. So most of the time when they say the tragedy of nutrition, no, it's the tragedy of what you choosing to decide you're going to put in your mouth.
you said the tragedy of ignorance.
Ignorant, yeah, because you just pretending. You're just like, oh, this addiction way better. Just like my fentanyl, I'm gonna get my fix in, you know. But at the end of the day, you still know that this ain't good. You know, those who've been on the drugs for a long time, you know, the neurons might not be there anymore for you to know. Like that, you could have done fried that to death already. But the same thing happens with the pus and we're literally frying those neurons till we get to the point of the tragedy of nutrition, where you can no longer really tell the difference. You're like, no, I'm doing what the doctor said. I'm doing, you know, what they serve me in the hospital. Look at the food they serve you in the hospital. Look at the food they serve a child at a school. And look at the food that they serve a prisoner in jail. And they all look the same. Why?
Well, even explaining that, Monica, you kind of get out of like the ignorance of the person now. It's like now the society is conditioning them to even be that way. So it's like now they don't even have like they're not even in control of themselves now. They're just going through a cycle where it's here, so I'm accepted. Just constantly going through a cycle. Okay, this is here, like you said, from the school. I'm gonna take it from here. Then from the hospital, I'm gonna take it from here, and from whatever, you know, institution that's available. All of them are serving the same thing. So you're going through a loop of just getting what's available to you.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, just on an earlier point that was made, like you can explain pain, but I still couldn't wrap my head around the addiction thing. Like just not just the physiologically what's happening, but like what's the purpose or function of that? And like why is that even a thing? And I don't know, does anybody else want to answer that? Because I have a theory, but I don't know if it's accurate.
My quick theory is just because I suffered from migraines for a long time. And it's like somehow I was benefiting from being in pain. I got to lay down in the dark, and everyone needed to get out of the room and be quiet so that I could. It's like it was the only way I could get silence. It's the only way I could be with myself, even though I was in horrifying pain, right? And I was causing it by what I ate, but I didn't quite put it together. But at some level, you're benefiting subconsciously or consciously from that pain. It's getting you out of work for a day. It's getting you to, whatever it is, like that's what I think it comes down to. It gets you attention for some people. It gets you some underlying thing that you want. But it's just one of my theories.
And I think it goes back to how we're wired too. Like we're wired to do things in a habitual way. Like just anything, we have to do it repeatedly over and over and over again. So just with addictions, it's like this is not our first time like facing this. Like our ancestors, they faced these things, and the way that they dealt with it was by eating to suppress it, or drinking, or doing whatever they did when that moment came up. So you might not even realize that when you do that, it's not only because you've done it during your lifetime, but during their lifetime, that's what they've done to suppress that too. So you can get into a period of, it's been habitual for so long. When you're trying to get out of it, you run back to that thing that was actually satisfying you at the time to really like stop that elimination or stop whatever is like going on, which make it addiction. Like it's been a cycle that's been going on continuously. So I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, and to your, no, I was just gonna say, like to Trey's point, like it like I was starting to think about it as a natural protective measure of nature enforcing the transition, because I made a point to Ruben, because Ruben didn't believe in addiction, and I think we have to continue that conversation because there's so many definitions of it. But the definition I pulled was like cannot do without a drug, or some engaging in a particular habit or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways to define addiction, but maybe the physiological sense of it, maybe he was referring to a strict definition. I don't know, but if it's nature enforcing the transition, just like pain has a function, it's like signaling to you, like, hey, get your damn hand off the stove, you idiot. Like, it's like addiction could have a function where it's not just like, because I didn't know how to think about this. It's like, is this some sinister kind of that doesn't actually have any purpose or function? But
well, the problem, I think, when some people say there's no such thing as addiction, they can be stuck in that mind paradigm that everything is based on mind, and so it's just about will and mind and that kind of stuff, and and I reject that premise of that it's all mind. If anything, I would lean more to it's a lot more physiological than it is mind, but there's a marriage in the two. It's got to come at it with a more holistic paradigm. If we look at the origin of the word, so addiction, tendency, inclination, penchant, a less severe sense, now obsolete. So the original was less severe, just a tendency. You have a inclination to eat pus, a penchant to eat mucus, state of being, self-addicted. So state of being, if you are addicted to fentanyl, that's your state of being. You're in a fentanyl state, or your pure human state is being altered by or co-opted by particular poisons or drugs. And a lot of the stuff, it's like, okay, if you're going to talk about mind, you got to get into the neurochemistry, the changing of this chemistry by way of poisonous means, external means. And that's why when you get deep enough into this, even eating fruit can be looked at as a kind of drug, depending on that's where we say all these things are relative, physiologically speaking. With the condition that we're in, we don't really need to worry about that for a long time. We need to be eating fruits for a very long time and vegetables, and we need to eat cooked mucus-free, most of us. We need to eat all that for transitional purposes. But in a pristine condition, you don't, when it's time to get high, you can get a high off an apple. You get high off of eating some grapes. And when you get, the cleaner and cleaner you get, you can start to notice that. You notice like the experience of eating fruit transforms to something way more orgasmic than it was when you were eating dead animal flesh. It's almost like cleaner forms of pleasure start to open up to you. So if you're somebody
like when you go up to the mountains and I start breathing like the air, I could smell like a pine of a wild blueberry bush. I like, it's so different. Like the air, when you start, even just breath is so enjoyable. And like I would forget about food because it's like, wow, that smells so wonderful, and the experience, like you're saying, it's orgasmic. Like you go jump in a river, feels so amazing. Just the sun starts to feel like heaven. Like everything, different experience that doesn't even have to do with putting anything in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be addicted to all that than stimulants, pus, and mucus. I mean, the experience is like people go, getting high, it feels so great. But what if life was being high? Like, what if you didn't have to take anything to feel that 24/7? That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this book gives you a system and a path to get there if you so choose it, if you so choose to put in the work to do so. Oh, there's the fence.
No. Oh my God.
I'm just saying, does that look fun? Does that look like an existence that we would like to explore? Because that's kind of how I look at a lot of it's like there was you can look at it as a flaw. You can look at it. I mean, there's different ways you can look at it. For me, what I got into was I no longer wanted to participate this level of human suffering. Not this level. When you look up and you find yourself in a world where this has become normality somewhere near you, you messed up somewhere. Like somewhere there was a decision that was made wrongly. And so you gotta,
because that to me is that's slavery. Like that's a form of slavery.
It's become normalized and I should find, there's some footage this is just a few handful of people. There, I've seen footage where it's dozens and dozens all on the same
There's a
block.
whole city, right? Isn't there a
Yeah,
whole city?
just in
where
a
it's
yeah
illegal?
whole well yeah that's where is that? That's like it's
I
either
only knew
in
that because the videos you said.
Bend.
yeah. There was that up in
Being
Canada.
involved,
Yeah,
yeah.
Vancouver. Yeah. And you know, it's like, so as we say this, what our message for people is, because see, I'm not looking down on these folks. My point of showing them is not that we sit here looking at them as if we're better than them, like look, I'm saying we are them. And I'm saying you continue to eat pus and mucus, welcome to your new reality, because this is where it goes. It's some version of this, some variation of this. So you can
like
find yourself
JC was
here.
saying, we're not that far from it. You know,
We're not that
real
far from
close.
it.
If we take the wrong road, we could easily be just one of these folks, or one of your children could be one of these folks. You know what I'm saying? This is not that far from us at all.
Because there's this, then I could start showing footage from nursing homes. You know, start showing, then shift into footage of a prison, and shift into you know, all these realities that are so much closer than you think.
Yeah.
That's based on us breaking the number one fundamental law that was given to us or pointed out to us in all these ancient mythological stories. Don't eat what you ain't supposed to eat. And when you break that, this is like being cursed. It's cursed. You're cursed. I mean, if you want to bring up some type of spiritualism type of concept, then this is
Black
the
magic
universe
right
has
there.
done cursed you, right? It's saying you learn. And if you're not going to learn, then we will, you know, smite you and put you, you know, you are going to be put through hell on earth. These are folks that you don't need to wait until you die to experience the fires of hell. It's right here. It's right here. But each one of these people in here, before they got to that condition, they ate some pus and mucus. They weren't eating nothing but fruit for the past 20, 30 years, and nothing but fruit and green leafy vegetables, and then ended up addicted to fentanyl on the street. They were eating pus and mucus, which is the ultimate gateway drug. And then like you say, you're one bite away. You know, you're one bite away from salvation, but you can also be one bite away from hell. And you don't know which bite that is. And you gambling when you messing around. If you know better. If you don't know, then you don't know. And you're gonna have to play that drama out. But if you know, then I would, you know, choose wisely about and then respect the transition. It's like you see what's going on, you get on the path as quickly as possible, and then start working through the ancestral trauma. You start working through
Speaking of that ancestral, man, all this talk about when did we start knowing we were doing something wrong, right? I was doing the research, like the ancestral, like the timeline of food from my ancestors, like going down into Mexico and South America, and and researching, the timeline of food, I found something really, really interesting, right? Because a lot of the things that are written are usually written by somebody eating pus and mucus. And so, because things before then were passed down orally. And so, what I'm finding very, very interesting is I'll get details on the foods of the ancestors, but usually it's of the ancestors who had more money and had access to things that were not just like the average person could eat, right? And then I'd get details like of the meat that would be eaten. They would list, okay, we're going to have, they ate dog and they ate turtle and they ate turkey, and you'd get details on the meat. And then they go down to right, and they ate wild fruits and vegetables, but there's no detail on what that fruit and what that vegetable is. And that's the part that I want to know. You know what I'm saying? So then I started thinking, well, what was the person who even wrote this eating? Because you could tell by the writing, the grains were in much detail, the legumes were in much detail. So mucus was in detail and pus was in detail. But the mucus-free, there was no detail. There was, but guess what? Here, I'll tell you what the detail of the mucus-free items were. Specifically, stimulant-based. Right? Chocolate, although it is still mucus-forming, but you'd get details on chocolate because it's a stimulant. You get details on chili because it's also a stimulant. And that'd be the extent of my mucus-free details. They'd be stimulants. What herbs would you'd know the herbs that were stimulating, but there was nothing on what didn't stimulate or didn't create pus and mucus. And so then I began to question the person writing the document. And are we ever going to find that information? I beg to differ not, because the people writing it were not clean.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like there's so many, it seems like there's so many things working against if you were to try and practice the mucusless diet healing system. It's like there's so many, like the failures in history and documentation, and it's like who were the historians?
We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to write it. We're going to have to create the present so
Yeah.
we can have a history.
Yeah, look at, so what are all these
we've lost our
eating?
history. Yeah. It's
You
gone.
were there? Wow.
Not in that, but I've been there. And
You see, yeah, there
it's a mess.
Look at this cop right here, boy. He's like I don't think I'm not on camera. No one's gonna see me kick this dude in the head. He's like boom. It's like just this is when everybody involved is pus and mucus eating.
And then they're all going to the same, like you said, Professor Spira. Then what happens after this? They're all eating at the same place.
This is peace
officers.
The
same place to eat.
With all the, I'm gonna throw you to the ground with love and peace, peace and love, everybody.
Then I'm gonna kick
this
you while
this
you're
wasn't
down.
Developed, for all the carnivore. This wasn't developed. People eating fruits and green leafy vegetables. So when you talking about, I feel healthy, I'm carnivore and that kind of stuff. Welcome to your world. This is the world that you are endorsing. That this has become normality, as Brother Air says. Abnormality has become normality. And they just say they've made this. People want to try to if you're not in this, you want to try to ignore this as you go to White Castle and be on your high horse. Like, well, I don't act like that. I eat dead animals. I'm a good citizen. I pay my taxes. I go to church. I give to charity. I'm a good citizen.
And you watch the news, right?
Yeah, I watch the news. I went to school and don't have an understanding that there is no, when it comes to this, there's no middle ground in terms of the cause and effect. It's just how much suffering do you want to experience? Because what we're talking about, it's like going down there to the folks and trying to say like, hey, we see you suffering. Here's something that can help you. They don't want, a lot of them don't want that help. They're not ready for that. They have accepted their suffering. So our message is not for the people that have just accepted their suffering. It's like I said, I'm getting out of your way. You've accepted your suffering. You've accepted the fate of what you think is the fate of humanity, or that this is normal. This is how things are supposed to be. I'm not talking to you. I'm getting out of your way. I want you to be on your mission to destruction, and I don't want to be pulled down with you. So I'm out your way. You can go on ahead and enjoy this. There's people. This entire drama is some people would look at this as entertainment for the suffering. The people that this is entertainment for suffering people. Something to watch, something to experience, to be a part of. But when you start to take yourself out of this and doing so in a meaningful way, so physiologically taking yourself out of this reality is the strongest. It is stronger than doing so that with the easy way out is to go off into the mountains somewhere by yourself and meditate all day and eat fruit and try to like be this monk out there somewhere. That's easy. That's the easy way. The hard way is, can you be mucus free and not shut yourself out from the entire world? Can you actually hone and use that suffering as inspiration to do better, to eat better, to cleanse more, to remove residual emotional traumas, eliminate that out of your psyche and your system? There's an old.
I have to thank you for that, because I will happily go run myself in the woods, but I am eternally grateful to you for sharing a path that can allow us to coexist, because like you said, we're one bite away from all these folks too. We're connected to everyone, and to be able to do something and be available to people who are wanting to make this change and wanting to go down this path to heal their own physiology, to be someone who's available, be someone who can still function at a high level and do so in such a way that you can still be a part of it, in your own way, however you can create your world, but still be a part of this and be there for other people. Like, that's what really spoke to me, not only in the books, but your message, like Spira Speaks, being able to be there for another human being, even another four-legged being. I love my little four-legged friends and all the little critters, the people out there working on their gardens and rejuvenating all the little critters that live there. I mean, at all levels. Like, I'm very, very, very grateful for that, because I don't, it gets me sentimental, but I'm grateful to all y'all, because most of us don't have people around us that we can connect with and talk to about this type of journey where we live. And to be able to connect on even like this, I especially enjoy the in person, the arid days, because I'm a, I like to have deep connections with people. They're not superficial connections, and it just really means a lot to be able to be here and do this, and help out anybody we can. So I'm grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you.
We don't have to hurt ourselves to
Nope.
do good things in the world.
Put the whip
Right.
of that
I
down.
still enjoy going up to the woods, and I ain't gonna delete that from my lifestyle. But it helps me to be available. It's a means to an end.
Yeah. I mean, it's the balance, making that balance. It's where, yeah, you learn how to draw the boundaries and create the balance with where you control what's coming in. You control and consciously control. So where it's not about getting rid of all of it, like every little drop, and trying to be some type of pious concept, and I'm purifying. I never watch anything that's not pure. All of my Instagram is pure. My YouTube watching is pure. It's like, no, that's not realistic. And when I see people that do that, those are folks that have a tendency to fall off the wagon down the road, because they get into this purity thing, and then down the road they're the first ones you're looking at and be like, wait, what happened to them? And I'd be like, oh man, they're out there in whatever land eating God knows what. They fell off the wagon, and it's like, well, they maybe they should have just watched Breaking Bad. It's okay. Watch
It's okay. My
watch
kids
something.
watch some of those fentanyl videos, and they're like, whoa, it's
Yeah, right.
good, because it opens up your mind to, we're not that far from all these different things, from these
Right.
realities, and that, they can help them make connections. So yeah, I might keep it a little PG for the kids, but I'm not trying to, you know
Like shelter.
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 Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you need to know, you need to know your family, you need to know everything, your little pus and mucus friend that you play with next door. You know how he responds after he eats a pizza. You must go now, because he's going to be aggressive. but
Right,
but
right.
they're making these connections. I don't have to tell them to make these connections, because they're living it in real life. And so that's important too. You don't want to just shelter. You want them to have these awarenesses, so that they know how to function with everyone. You don't want to not be able to talk to the public and to anyone, because you don't know who's going to be open to this message. You don't know who could that could be the very person that asks you 10 years down the line, hey, I know you're into this health stuff. I'm going through something, and I'm ready to listen now. I'm ready to do this. You don't know where those planted seeds, when they're going to sprout. They might be in some funky soil, might take a minute, but they still going to sprout sometimes. And so never turn to, never tune it out, because you don't know. That's always a potential. And the other thing is, don't get frustrated, because I know I tend to get frustrated when I want someone to hear the message. I'll be honest, it'll make me sad. I want somebody to hear certain things or do certain things, because I care about them deeply, and I want what's best for them, you know. but I also have to respect their journey and their path. I think I preach enough that they'll know who to go to if they want a question answered. So then I got to kind of drop it too, finding that space to be able to do that as well is something I've been really trying to work on lately, because it isn't easy, sometimes to see somebody you love suffering, or, even someone you don't love, someone you don't like. I still don't want to see that person suffer either.
Right.
I don't want to see nobody having to go through something unnecessarily. But if that's, where they're at, that whole, I'm gonna keep that quote you just made, just get out their way. I'm gonna plant my seed first. You don't have to take it. You don't even have to put it in your pocket. But I'm gonna plant the seed. and then I'm gonna walk away.
That's a good way. I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I like that's kind of like our job. That's the job.
Sometimes I gotta throw it real quick and run, but I'm
Sometimes exactly.
There's different gardening techniques. Sometimes you just throw them and see
Scatter
what
it,
takes.
just throw it.
Yeah. Sometimes you take delicate care, and you sow it, and then you water it, and certain people in your life, you're gonna have that capability of working on a one-on-one basis. And sometimes you ain't got that kind of time. I got children to chase after. I want something to grow, and I just throw it hard and see what sticks.
Right.
Oh man, that was funny.
So did we accomplish our mission today of talking about nutrition versus elimination?
I think for a good portion there. We did our
Is there any questions or?
Yeah.
There's a few that came up. We have to, since this was mentioned earlier, we gotta
go to the.
I gotta
comment.
It's because I'm really doing the
this one has.
I
think this one has to be played every episode. This is gonna be like the new every podcast
every time.
Show you videos of the
carnivorous
animals that eat animals. They deal with that feces. They eat some of that raw feces right out of the intestines.
Yum yum yum.
That's part of them as they're trying to go for the gut. So we don't like that. So that right there should tell us we are not supposed to be eating dead animal flesh. Yet the sense organs of humans are in such a pathological state, embodied in pus-like mucus and waste that is throughout the entire system, that we crave things that we have no business ever putting in our body. Yet we crave it. So there is this deception that our body can play on us, deceiving us into thinking that we need foods that are actually poisonous to us. And that is indeed the tragedy of nutrition.
Doesn't that look like fun?
Now that's what I'm saying. Like, look at this. Is that an animal? Everybody's like, I wish I could be a lion, a tiger. Does that look like that's a?
And mind you, they don't eat the healthiest animals too. They eat the ones that are injured. A child whose parents wasn't paying attention to them, the little dopey ones who didn't make it.
Right.
Yeah, like they're like McDonald's. Okay, they're not picking the best meat in the house to be consuming, and nor do they live very long lives either.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, does this look, for all the carnivore people? Does this look fun? Is this
look at how it gushes out?
Yeah, like this.
And then he licks it up.
He licks it up. He's like, man, that's protein. You get my protein in. Mm-hmm.
Yellow soup.
Oh man.
Yellow soup.
I gotta turn away.
Yellow soup.
That's juice. This is anything in the name of protein is but gut biome. Somebody will make that argument was good for your gut biome.
Well, well, let's put somebody else's poop in me
Let's
then.
get
That's
out.
how they
Yeah,
justify
let's
that one.
yeah.
Let's drink someone
You
else's
know,
urine.
yeah,
Okay,
I was
well,
gonna say,
that's
yeah, it's
good.
like they
Let's
all
go there. We're gonna go there. Let's go.
line it all up.
Line it all up.
And then like does this animal look like an animal that's not suffering?
I was just about
I
to
mean,
say that.
he's got his food. It's like that. It doesn't look like some some animal expert like, no, that's a chant of fun and happiness right there. The fun. We
That's what it sounds like when I'm having a rough elimination.
yeah. That looks like an
That sounds
absolutely
like I'm like-
miserable existence. That and that's what people want. That people are trying to mimic the horrible existences of these animals that they have a hard enough time living, eating in the way that they eat, and we think that we can do better eating like them. It's absolutely ridiculous.
No, thank you.
It's like, as Vic said one time, he's like, if you could talk to that animal and ask him like, how do you feel? It would just sit there, look at you, and be like, I feel miserable. It's like, yeah, it puts a whole different vibe on the Lion King. I feel miserable.
Right, and Spira, when you watch, like some people, like their relaxing time is like watching nature stuff, like nature documentaries and stuff like that. Half the time it's like creatures eating each other and like hunting each other and like slaughtering each other. And it's like, oh man, this is so. I got David Attenborough like, really soothing me right now, and it's all like
therapeutic.
all like gentle camera work, and it's like this is what they're watching, but they could put this in a nice, beautiful way, and people find that relaxing.
Yeah, with some nice music. Because even that, when you slow it down, if you had some like triumphant music, you wouldn't necessarily think that this animal is in pain. It'd be like, triumph. Yeah.
What is it? The one from yeah. That's exactly. You read my mind. Telepathy right there. Rocky, yes. I was like, that's it. He's climbing the stairs.
And
we're making it to the top.
Craving. So
this thing, it's like
things that we have no business ever putting in our body, yet we crave it. So there is this deception that our body can play on us, deceiving us into thinking that we need foods that are actually poisonous to us. And that is indeed the tragedy of nutrition.
And then I like the other test. The other test is, okay, so we can deceive ourselves, right? But can you deceive a child who has not put that in? Okay, even cook it up nice. Even cook it up nice how they like it. You're bacon and eggs, all that jazz, right? And then put some fruit. Put some fresh grapes, some freshly chopped cantaloupe, strawberries. Put some berries in front of
and
the
some
kid.
good quality fruit, not some dollar store fruit.
No. And
toy fruit.
watch what happens. Watch what happens. Even take like I even enjoy like having my friends that come over sometimes, and I enjoy cooking. I enjoy preparing food. Not necessarily when I'm fasting, but when I do cook, they're like, man, I have yet to find someone, now that I cook fairly good, you know, after practicing, not my cardboard vegan stage, not that stage where I couldn't figure out what to make nothing taste good. You know, someone come over and say, that tastes terrible. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
one guy told me, he's all, I don't know how you do it, but you make these vegetables taste as good as my meat. Ooh, I got so offended. I was like,
yeah,
oh, honey,
Said,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My fruits and my vegetables make your meat taste good because without it, it don't taste good.
right.
Mm.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
go into the let's go to the international store, any store. Go to the meat section and the cheese section. And just take a good inhalation. Hold it. Just hold it. Just
hold
hold
it.
it right now and tell me that smells good. Come on. This
Yeah,
the same fungus growing on your feet is how they make that cheese. Exact same fungus and bacteria. Okay? Of course, it don't
I
grow on
might
my
delete
feet no
those.
more. You know what I mean? Look it up. That's the truth. The exact same bacteria. I don't have the name of it,
hmm,
mind you, but it is exactly the same. And that meat, I'm sorry, that a vulture would get excited, you know. But don't tell me that that it smells good and it makes you're thinking about how you prepared it and how you're gonna make it taste, but not straight out oh, and then go to the, like, here, this one's for you, Brady. Go to the seafood section.
Oh,
Take a
hmm.
good whiff of
don't
that.
take me there,
No,
please.
let's go on a date, honey.
I don't like that
Let's
place.
before you go to the restaurant, go on a date and walk by what you're about to eat before they make it. Oh man, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh, doesn't that
Yeah, look
look
at
good?
that. Look at that. Doesn't that look
Mm.
like some of those feet of people that no longer have feet anymore? What was that? Doesn't that gangrene? Now
Oh,
pull up some
yeah, yeah,
gangrene. Looks
yeah, yeah,
exactly the same.
yeah, yeah.
And then you're gonna put it in you. I mean, and I'm guilty as charged. It took me 3 solid tries of I quit cheese and I ain't never gonna touch it again before I actually quit cheese and never touched it again. Okay? Because all that rotten stuff was like, the more blue, the better, right? Like I lived it. That was me. You know,
Whoa.
that raw sushi sashimi with not cooked even. Yeah, I ate it. I'll admit it. But I'm going through the eliminations to pay reparations for all those precious creatures that suffered for what I wanted to eat,
That looks uncomfortable.
right? That's your cheese right there. Look, it's just right there. You're making cheese on your feet. Now, doesn't that look tasty? Doesn't that make you want to eat it? Aren't we carnivores? Doesn't that
Hashtag
sound
carnivore
good?
diet.
Right? The diseased animal, that's what you're gonna get.
Right.
That's the one
Yeah,
that
right. You
couldn't
get
make
the,
it that you
that's
could
the,
catch. That's the one
right.
who couldn't make it. But somehow that part of the conversation gets skipped. It's all connected. We're not separate from it.
Spontaneous.
And like if this doesn't, the response, the proper response to looking at all this is you feel like you really want to go do an enema right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do
That's
one
how I
after
feel.
this thing. We're gonna like,
Yeah,
can I go
'cause
off camera
uh, 'cause I did
first?
one before this broadcast. I'm looking at this like, man, I might need that to do one after.
Yes.
Do a number two. And but this it's just a connection that we hope that folks can get and appreciate that it's all connected. From your moldy cheese has consequences. You know, your feces ridden dead animal flesh has consequences. And just because those consequences happen a year later, 10 years later, 20 years later, don't mean that they could have been avoided if you had made some different decisions. And so, and we're looking at all this, and as a lot of y'all know, I mean, I grew up looking at this in real life, right in front of me, and it looked just like all this. So I'm putting y'all through what I went through is a little bit, where y'all can get a sense of, people are like, why is he so? People would complain, like, why is he so in diet? So obsessed. I'm like, well, I'm obsessed with not experiencing this.
I'm addicted to being
If it's
healthy.
possible.
I'll admit it. I what do they say in the meetings? I am
When you,
mucusless practitioner. I sometimes got issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's work.
because
It's work, you know?
for me, it is an interesting philosophical question. If people knew, because this is a good stuff we're getting into when you're talking about the concept of addiction, concept of knowledge, what can be known. And if people knew without a shadow of a doubt that eating something like this will lead to the gangrene images, it's not letting me.
It directly does. I mean, because that's that's all going to clog up the channels, and your extremities are the first thing that's going to go. If all your blood vessels, if everything's clogged up, well, the extremes are, the hands, the feet. That's what it looks like.
And it's like, it'd be nice to be able to not have to make the point as aggressively, because then somebody comes up and says, well, my grandparents ate cheese for their whole life and they lived to be 90 years old and they were fine and they didn't, and so they always like, that's always that's the easy plus example of like that's the scapegoat is somebody lived a long time breaking physiological laws and so they did it, so what, that made it okay? Like, so I mean, you can follow in the footsteps, you can try to, but chances are you're not going to last as long as they were.
Much. Yeah, and I guarantee you they didn't eat as much as society's eating today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like their cheese in a dish was nothing like I see people serve cheese nowadays. The pizza's got the cheese and now it's in the crust, now it's under the food and on top of the food, and then you eat the breadstick next to it, they're also filled with the cheese, and then they sprinkle the Parmesan cheese on top of the cheese. I mean, that's not what your parents ate.
Right.
That's not what they ate. They ate a piece of toast, right? And then a piece of cheese. There was none of this. Yeah, I beg to differ. And their air was much cleaner because we done ruined our air. There are a lot more factors.
But their quality of life probably wasn't that good either. Like, if you look at the Spira pulls up those like nursing home pictures, it's like that's, you get people in their 90s once in a while, probably not as much nowadays, but it's like they're not. Yeah, they're not
climbing trees.
Right. Yeah, they're.
That's gonna be me.
Quality of life is
I'm putting it out there. I'm climbing trees at 100.
Right.
It's like, so that's their scapegoat. Yeah. Really what you want?
Yeah, because all we're saying is you have a choice, and it's not a guarantee. It's a choice to go in a different path, because if you don't try to go on a different path, then it's inevitable. You know, you're going to follow, as like Brother Air says, they got a place for you. And so you're going to go down into the situations. And the thing is, if you knew that this was waiting for you and that there was a way for you to avoid it, would you fight with every fiber of your being to avoid that reality? I mean, what lengths would you be willing to go if you had the see, this is real consciousness. Really, you know, it's not just this fad, you know, people talk, oh, this I'm conscious. It's like, no, this is consciousness. Because for whatever reason, the average person can't do this. They can't project their actions into the future and understand consequence. It's I don't, you know, it's a fascinating dynamic, and so it's all I'm trying to do is just see that, you know, for people that if you've never been exposed to the you know nursing home situations, hospital situations. You know, if you haven't been exposed to that, you can't mess with it. You can't wait until it's too late. You can't get that initial, because not everybody's gonna have the benefit of a stroke scare or the benefit of a mild heart attack that doesn't kill them, that then changes their, you know, the benefit of a so-called near-death experience, that you come out of that and then you've been changed. You go on the right path, and you know, not everybody's going to have that benefit, and so you're playing with fire, and so we're saying, what's the potential? What's the potential if you're eating in alignment with the foods that we're supposed to eat? We're talking longevity. I'm not talking about who can run who's going to be able to run the fastest, who's going to be able to lift the most, because as we know, health and fitness are two very different things. I'm saying who's going to be able to live the longest with the least amount of pain. And that's probably not going to be the same per your favorite athlete is not going to be, it's not going to be them, you know, it's not going to be that type of existence. Oh, here's the picture I use in my presentation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Because like they say, this is just a result of what we've already been taught to eat. This is the result of the pyramid, of the nutrition theory, everything that they have taught us. This is it's being shown to us in the present time. We have the results. You don't have to wait 50 years to know the results. It's already here in front of us. You can see it. So all Professor Sayers is she's just showing us, why don't we just try something different, and maybe the result won't be like
and
that.
just see,
You know
maybe,
what I mean?
hey, maybe I'm wrong, maybe, but what do you got to lose? Because even if you tried
there's
something,
the results, yeah. Even like in the island life, before it's turned into what it has nowadays, but there's truth there too. I mean, a lot of those cultures never even had a nursing home, didn't exist, because they ate much less and they ate much more fruit.
right. You know, this is, for whatever reason, this is the missing link. This is the connection that humans have the most trouble making, just in general, as a species. Like we we lost this part. There's all this other stuff that we learned how to do and all this technology and all these things, but this is hard for whatever reason. For those of us that, some of us, it's easier to get there than others for whatever reason, just mentally. But for our species in general, this is really challenging to make that connection, to think that you have that much power, that this, I mean, look at this. I mean, does this look like loving healthy food?
Yeah, like with what JC was saying earlier about the Doritos, like you take anything like that hot dog, whatever that is, I don't even know what the hell that is, but you take that and you ask some random person, like, okay, like how much exactly of this is your body going to use or need? Exactly how much? Or you take whatever, hot dog or Doritos or, you know.
It'll become a part of it because it's going to get stuck. Is it to get stuck, collected?
Yeah, like with the carnivore diets. Like, how do you have bowel movements on the carnivore diet? I always wanted to ask somebody that.
Oh, well, Renee, didn't she say most because she was in the bodybuilder field, right? She said most of them, or several of them, end up getting their colons removed surgically because of the level of protein and discomfort they have in their body, because the body physically cannot process it. And that's from someone who lived that lifestyle, you know, and then lived to change and be able to tell the story.
Yeah, the bodybuilding thing, man.
Oh, what are you talking about, Danielle?
Is it Danielle? Okay.
Yeah, Danielle. Yeah. Danielle Miranda. Yeah, it was the bodybuilder.
That's it. Yeah.
See,
shout out to Danielle.
It's like
I watch her videos with the arid exercises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta
do better
and make these connections. You know, really make these connections. I thought that was I thought those balloons were lemons.
Yeah, lemons. That's what I see. Lemons and grapefruit.
Damn.
And then they trying to have some lemonade here. I bet that's got a bunch of white sugar in it. You know, but what we're talking about is a fundamental paradigm shift. You know, transformation of, again, this is all this to me is a tragedy of nutrition, because it doesn't have to be like this. Even if we were to have institutions for people that didn't get around as well, it wouldn't have to be like this. There's no law, no rule that it has to be like this. This was just what. Well, I mean, nursing, I did a whole presentation on this, but the original nursing homes were really poor houses in the European tradition. And that came over to the United States, and they were generally, that's why so many hospitals have some type of Christian or Judeo-Christian type of name, or Saint whatever, Saint something hospital, and or St. Joseph nursing home or whatever. It's like that's really out of the old poorhouse tradition, where they would it'd be the elders, but they would also be, even that would probably better than some of the stuff today, because you had orphans, elderly, and homeless was all in the same institution. But yeah, so it's, it's as we say, it's rough. Here was a question that I know was posted a while back, but we get to your questions. We still get to them. So what as talk about healthy habits, healthy elimination habits, what it looks like, smells like, and how often. Would you guys like to take that?
You're talking about like the end of that question makes me think, are we speaking about what comes out as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, the end of it makes it sound like you're talking about, I don't know, bowel movements or urination or something like that. But the beginning of it, just elimination habits I mean, I take it as in general, but you can take it either to be number one and number two elimination, or just elimination in general.
Yeah. Okay. Well, healthy elimination habits. I think the number one thing is to work the system. Like, if you're speaking about elimination, you're most likely speaking about the Mucusless Diet Healing System. So the first thing would be to like recognize what parts of the system you practice, you're strong at, and then what parts you're weak at. And then from there, just follow the books with you. Put on your training wheels and like really, really wear those things out. And yeah, like first off, get to the no breakfast plan. That's an incredible elimination habit. Give the body a really good time, a really good period of time where almost all of its energy is just focused at whatever activity you're doing and cleaning yourself up. Don't get to the digestion yet. Get good at transitioning. Extend the dry fast in the morning, 2 to 4 hours after you wake up. Then learn how to gently transition into juice fasting. Learn what's a good amount of juice for yourself. Figure out what juices work, what situations they shine in for your own physiology. And then learn how to transition into eating. Start with the fruit. If the fruit's too aggressive, go on to mucus-free vegetables. Learn how to extend a mucus-free period for as long as possible. Learn when to strategically put in mucus. Don't just don't eat mucus before the vegetables. All this stuff is within the book, but I think the most important thing to build a healthy elimination habit is just recognize where you're at right now, see what Eric says, and just how can you take a rational step forward with what Eric is laid out. See what his ideal is, see where you're actually at, and then figure out a game plan.
And then you can find out for yourself what it looks and smells like.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, yeah. And then if it smells morbid in the first 2 years, I think you're doing a great job. If it's green, if it's black, if it's gray, congratulations. Yeah, you're killing it.
How often, JC? How often should you eliminate?
For me, I don't like my food being in me more than 24 hours. I think I've had 4 or 5 bowel movements today, and then I had my enemas. So if you got a lot in you, hopefully you're moving a lot out. But if you're in a fast, probably shouldn't be going crazy. But those first couple fasts, I'll never forget my first grape juice fast. The second day, I had 20 bowel movements in an hour, and it was just black mess coming out. That doesn't happen now, but that was the first year, and that's how it should have been.
Yeah. Trey, you got your Kalima board recommendation as a healthy habit?
Oh yeah, man, the Kalima board. Yeah, I think that's definitely needed, and it's going to be needed more going forward. Just how constipated we are, especially just myself. I ate a lot of cheese, so a lot of cheese, a lot of bread, a lot of pizza. So I got stuff that I'm just digging out, and that board, man, it's helpful. It's helpful. Just the power of it, just the amount of water and lemon you can put in there. Yeah, it's just, man, it's a powerful tool. So yeah, I go in between that and my bucket. I need to get a new bag. My bag, I ended up throwing it away because I had it forever. And then Vadim was talking about how he changed his bag out every 3 months. So I was just like, I gotta get rid of this, man. I
About
had this
time.
long time. Yeah, so I gotta.
Vadim is disciplined with his bag.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I enjoy using the cleaner board. It just, I feel a lot better after using it too. Like I know when I'm like constipated and just man, like yeah, I got it. Because sometimes I feel like the bucket. I feel like the bucket. It just is. It is useful and it's nice, but when you're on the board and you can just sit in one spot and relax, and then you can just let the water flow in, and also while the waste is flowing out, you can still allow more water to flow in while it's flowing out. It just, I feel like nothing beats that. Like if I could, I would set it up and use it every day, but cleaning it and just going through that whole process with it, sometimes it just becomes too much, and it's like, yeah, the bucket is just like quicker to use, so I'll do it this way, but. Man, yeah, that claimer board is a powerful tool.
Yeah. So smells like, one thing you would see as you get a little cleaner, you have to wipe a little bit less, as it should be when you're eating mucus-free, more mucus-free, and you're getting a lot of that slime and all that residue and that stuff out of you, then you're going to be wiping less. You don't have to be sitting there digging around. And it shouldn't smell like death, when you just because you go to the bathroom where it's just like something died, and so those are a couple things to look forward to. Yeah.
Okay, my advice would be build a relationship with lemon. Like citrus is your friend. You know what I mean? Like it can go up the rear end. It can go down your mouth. Like just build a relationship. There are many kinds of lemons.
Well,
My favorite, Myers. There's like orange looking lemons, there's limes, there's such a variety, and like just enjoy it. Like juice some apples with it, make some Brother Air lemonade. You know what I mean? Just become friends with a lemon. Any which way you put it is gonna help clean you out. And those parasites, they don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. That goes into the next question here with Mr. A. What's the best non-animal way to cleanse your body or colon? Any vegetable or fruit that comes close? I would say that's very subjective. That's going to be based on where you are physiologically. There's no one recommendation, because if I recommend that you sit there and drink shots of lemon rind juice, and you're not ready for that physiologically, then that will make you sick. That'll mess you up.
Yeah, that could be detrimental.
Yeah. So that depends on where you're at. But to me, I would never compare eating something or drinking something to doing an enema. And I don't compare doing the enema to doing a colonic. For me, all these tools are separate, and what you want to do is learn how to use them systematically within the context of the overall system, Mucusless Diet Healing System. And but yeah, I mean, we can go down a whole list of different juices that they're all different tools. The green juice is an important tool. If you're real acidic, you need to neutralize those acids. You talking about you're hungry and that kind of stuff. You need to do some green juice for a period. You trying to kill some damaged cells, or you got some type of growth or something like that. Well, now we got to get into the fruit juices. Let's get that stuff out of there. Let's get into the lemon juice or whatever. A lot of different avenues. Using these different tools, but that's my recommendation, is to shift the paradigm into looking at all these different things as tools, all these different opportunities. Each fruit is a different tool. Every enema technique. You know, it's like that's a different tools for different situations.
Yeah, for some people, just eating mucus free is a very aggressive detox.
Yeah.
Like even just doing that for a day, hey, that's a fast for you, use it. Those types of things. For some people, you may need cooked broth. Could be very beneficial because it's going to slow things down. You might be having a hard time. You know what I'm saying? And you need to slow things down. It's definitely very subjective, and that's what's so important about the book. It gives you all these different tools, and your job is just to play with all of them and figure out what helps you right now where you're at, and starting to incorporate them in your lifestyle. Fasting, like JC was saying, doesn't have to be a long fast. Can just be as simple as, oh, I'm just not going to have breakfast today. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And that could lead into, I don't eat once a week. Once a week, I take a day off. Let that grow slowly. Like it's a transition. Everything from the concept of fasting to the whole mucusless diet is a form of fast. Whether you're eating or not eating, they're all different tools, like you're saying, to adjust where you're at in your physiology. And that's going to change as you go down this path as well. What works for you at the beginning, year one, is not going to work for you year two. So you also have to change with it.
And that's something that I started focusing on and paying attention to, as far as like Eric using, like, I noticed he was using lemon like on almost everything. And I started just thinking about, like, why is he putting lemon on everything? And it goes in the body, it sits there, it's gonna break this stuff down while it's taking the time to process, and it's taking this mucus and it's bringing it out the body with it. So even the way that he just used the lemon on all these different type of meals, once it go in the body, to also help it just broom that stuff out and clean that stuff out. That's another form of just helping to eliminate in a safer way, instead of just doing an aggressive fast or fruit only. It's just like he combined that lemon with the meal, so now that's also working on loosening this stuff up and bringing it out the body. So I was interested in that too, like, man, because I just started paying attention to it. Just like, he's using this lemon everywhere, like on everything, man.
Yeah. And I had this queued up for this. Yeah, so health and wealth. It's interesting that the first sin was about eating, and everything spiraled downward from there. And I wanted to share a little story. And this is I made this in art class the other day, a little while ago. I've made a few of these in art class. And I'll read you the story that I wrote for the class. So long, long ago, before death and destruction filled the land, there lived radioactive beings with black blood coursing through their veins and electricity emitting out of every pore, out of every dreadlock. And they lived in peace, in paradise. But then one day, the intestine started to act a little strange. The intestine got possessed by the serpent, and indeed became one and the same. Let's see. And so humans started to lose control, started to eat more and more, and the serpent started running the show, to the point where it was really running the show. And everybody started to experience sadness, but they could also experience delight and pleasure and drunkenness, being high. Fentanyl would come in, and people started to think that this was normal, that this was normality, that the serpent was just running everything, that old nasty intestinal serpent just running everything, and folks thought it was normal. Then it only got even worse, and gluttony just took over. The insatiable appetite of the serpent could never be quenched, and as much as people tried, they couldn't do it. Within one day, there were some people, there were some mucus-free people that had the desire to try and conquer this dastardly serpent. And they started to lavish in lemon juice, experimenting with lemons and fruits and vegetables of all kinds to see if they could weaken the serpent. And as they weakened the serpent, their mind cleared up. They started conceiving of societies and communities that no longer harm the earth, that started to enrich the human experience. Suffering and disease started to fade away and become a faint memory of the past. And humans started to return back to paradise, transitioning back to the time before the serpent took over, went all the way back to electric beings of light that would emit so much radiation no human today could stand to be around. Perfectly clean human, our ancestors. And then continue to evolve into Homo spiritus, take this thing on into the next realm. But before we can have that type of fun, we're about right here. We're coming out of here, and those of us who are watching this broadcast are the few here, where we're just really trying to scrape it together and trying to weaken this thing. We gotta this intestinal serpent. We gotta do whatever we can do to try to weaken this. And to weaken the influence of it, because it's going to be a part of us. It's up inside of us, but we weaken the influence of it to break free. Because most people see the folks lost here. A lot of these folks, they don't want to be free. They don't realize that they're in hell. They don't realize that they're suffering. They don't think there's anything they can do. They don't think that they have control over their destiny. They don't question it. They just come here and say, well, this is civilization. This is what we're all supposed to be doing. This is how we're supposed to eat. And they just go along with it, and they play that drama out, which is the drama of the serpent. But for those few that don't want this to be their reality, that want to try to go a different direction, then lemon juice is one of the major tools. The fruits and the vegetables, breath work, the exercise, the stretching, the yoga, all of that. We can transition back to something a little more rational. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's my story, and that was my art that I made for art class a couple weeks ago.
I wonder what nutrients he's eating.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
he
felt
looks like he
I
needs some
felt like a
nutrition.
little kid finally being told a story that makes sense. Not Rockabye Baby is gonna fall off the treetop, or Humpty Dumpty who's got broken again. Like this is a bedtime story right here. This is
Yeah.
it. We need to bind it up, put it in a book. I'll read it to the children. I love it. Wow. I love the imagery. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, that's me after eating an entire can of Flintstone multivitamins. Oh no.
That jingle of Flintstone. Was it strong and growing? was it something strong and growing?
Yep.
It's like, yeah. That's what Crispy Apple says. Stuck in the Matrix. You know? It's like crispy apple.
That's awesome.
Crispy apple. That reminds me of the picture you sent me earlier, Brady, of that cosmic apple. I was like, that apple looks good.
Yep.
Let's see. Mary, does farting count as an elimination, or is that just your body trying to release gas pressure buildup?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Now let's think about this real hard. Is it
Like
elimination?
death.
Next podcast
Some
topic.
of them like can clear the room, or is it just air coming out? I didn't even smell it. A little bit of both.
So we have a lot of work to do, but I mean, to me, this is the most important work that can be done, because like we said, everybody is searching, and we're not going to find answers on Mars. We're not going to find answers digging down into the earth somewhere. We found the answers, and now we have to execute and take action in terms of really transforming the blood, because that's where it starts. You with every breath you take, with every fruit that you eat, you're cleaning your blood, eliminating toxic waste that otherwise would pollute your blood. And that's nurturing. That's how you nurture the body, is clean it up. And it's gonna nurture, be nurtured by Mother Nature. That's the real nurture.
Yeah, I like
the
how
real
Eric
nutrition.
put it in chapter 1 of the Mucusless Diet. He said it's a rejuvenation of the body. It's we're regenerating what already exists. We have a beautiful divine temple for our body. It's just it got spray painted, it got a little goop on it. When you take care of something, you clean it up, right? Someone gets a car, what do? You keep it clean, right?
A little
Something
goop.
sacred, a little goop. Oh, we got okay. I'm being a little nice on the goopy part, but it's a little dirty, let's just say the least. But most people would think of a temple as sacred and want to you know, if anything, only enhance its beauty and keep it clean every day, like even from the floors, the doors. You would, you know, you would wash your hands before you go. Everything is like sacred. You know, why don't we treat our bodies this way? You know, this is our temple. This is what houses your spirit. Why are we filling it with caca? Like, don't do it, you know? Don't do it. Like, it's sacred. It, it deserves so much more. And if you don't feel you deserve it, you got to just know you deserve it and just give it a try. Because sometimes we don't know we deserve something because you can't feel it. You can't know it till you try it. Sometimes you have to go down this path and experience even just an ounce of it. You know, just try it for 2 weeks. Give it a shot, you know. Do an enema for 2 weeks. Try mucus-free for 2 weeks. You know, just try it, because sometimes you aren't capable of knowing, because we're that constipated on a cellular level, to even comprehend that we have a right to feel good. Like, the suffering doesn't have to be our reality. And you'll be surprised what, you know, just do the no breakfast for 2 weeks. Just do that for 2 weeks. You know, make a change for 2 weeks and then tell me it don't work. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy, nothing extreme. It's about transition. Make one small change and then do another. Then add something else to it, you know, a little bit at a time. Could be a month, whatever. You know, whatever works for you, but just try it. You know, you deserve that kind of attention, that kind of love for yourself. Because how can you give it to the world if you don't know what it is? You haven't experienced it. You know, everybody wants to go run out there and be the teacher. You know, oh, I got a certificate that says I'm, you know, I'm a certified anything. And then you know, even a doctor went to school for years, and they're putting, you know, something close to battery acid in cancer patients and calling it a cure.
Right.
You know, the percentage of people that come out of that ain't very high. And we're looking at this as our saving grace. I'm sorry, that don't sound like a path of wellness to me. And they don't even take their own knowledge of nutrition courses. You know,
No.
theirs is strictly, you know, medicine and surgery, which is beneficial in emergency situations. I'm not knocking them. You know,
Yeah.
they got their place, but don't give them the wrong place. Don't put your health and wellness in the hands of somebody who studies just medicine and surgery. You know, that's for emergency situations. Don't live a life that you have to be in an emergency. Be in preventative. You know, let's prevent these things from having to occur. Let's not need to have this many hospitals around, because we're not that ill anymore, because we've chosen a different path. We've chosen to not need to be in a space of emergency anymore, because we're in a space of health and wellness.
Yeah, I mean, if you want evidence that modern day nutrition theories have failed, go to any hospital, go to any nursing home, go to any, you know, war-torn country, any homeless encampment, any clinic, you know, rehab clinic, go anywhere, and you're going to see how much modern day nutrition theories have failed us, how much the calorie theory has failed us, how much the vitamin theory has failed us, and how much the protein theory has not only failed us, but is at the foundation of so much premature death and premature suffering. So when people look at us like we're extreme because I don't believe in your protein theory, I don't believe in your calorie theory and your standard nutrition theory. Why should I? Because where's the proof that it's helped damn near anybody? I'm not seeing it, because all the people you want to bring folks that ate poorly to say, look, so and so they smoked cigars every day of their life and they ended up being 99. Okay, then why are we going to deal with but calories are important and protein is important? Man, none of that. None of that makes any sense. Is all, when you really look at it, it not only does it not make sense, it's not helpful. It's not being useful to anybody other than the serpent. And the serpent loves a good excuse to go and eat the Doritos and to go eat the to go have the pizza, have the moldy cheese, and then that excuse can just easily be transferred over to the fentanyl or the heroin or the cocaine or the whatever. It's weird all that stuff come from, because all that stuff, it didn't come from, man, I'm feeling so good eating fruit and fasting and cleaning my colon out. That came from profound constipation and trying to find, there's a reason, there's whole segments of the population that have this obsession with leaving their body. I want to leave my body and explore and go out. I want to go out of body. That type of mentality doesn't even come close when you are so comfortable in your body already, and you know that you can go wherever you want while you're in your body. You don't want to go nowhere. You're like, I'm good because I'm at peace right here. Like there's no place I can go that is better than here. I'm already in heaven. I'm already at the pinnacle. You got to earn that. You got to work to get to that. That's not going to happen through cheese and wine and cheese parties. That's not how that's going to go. But
anyway, if anything, the way I've seen it go, that documentary that Brady, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like that history of the food and the bacon and the eggs and all that. I mean, it was just glorified rich people food. And who were the people waging war on the world? So that's what they were eating. That's what has spread war across the world, killing hundreds and thousands of people, millions, and continues to do so on a number of different levels, whether it's food, just massacring people, murderers. I mean, just what were they eating? They, like you said, they weren't eating fruits and green leafy plants. They were eating the cheeses and the meats and the wines, and you can make it look fancy, but at the end of the day, it's still not making you feel good. I mean, what has anyone who went on a drunken spur one night, what do they look like on the next morning? They don't look like, to me, an epitome of vitality. That's for sure.
well, and that becomes part of the ritual.
Yeah, the ritual. What happens on Thanksgiving? What's everybody look like after the meal? They all sitting down. They can't move. Can't. I remember can't hardly breathe was another one.
Yeah.
I'd eat
And
till I couldn't breathe, pretty much. Be like, I have more room. I can still breathe. Unbuckle your pants. You know what I mean? Then the conversations get heated, and then they got to drink, they
Yeah,
go into
yeah. Well, yeah. Then
phase of the
some just
eating.
that, the drunken uncle fight. Be like, her,
Yep. I mean,
no,
we see
Trump,
where it leads
Biden.
to. We see
It's exactly how they sound.
We see it. We see it. Just open your eyes to it. You can see it too. You can see it too.
Yeah. So, all right. So, is there any other questions over here? See, we got dragon fruit discussion going on. Yeah, dragon fruit will clean you out. you need to be cleaned out. Dragon fruit can definitely help with that. And,
Especially
as a
those
lot of
yellow
fruits
ones.
will. Oh man, yeah, those.
Yeah, I've been wanting to find
No
some
joke.
different colors. Like I just find the white one, but I'm like, I want color. Like give me some pink and some yellow and something else.
Well, I know Florida has. That's where when I was having a bunch of those down in Florida, it was. Yeah, they were doing the job. Boy, those things are no joke. Those are no joke.
I can't wait to get me into some cherries. Oh, just to have this organic farmer lady. She's got the best fruit. Her apples are. She's been missing from the farmer's market for a couple weeks, and so I've been asking, does anybody know where she went? Like, is everything okay? I'm all concerned. And they're like, oh, their produce. Like, I guess something happened and they weren't producing as much. But they're like, she should be back in a week, and she said she's going to be back with cherries. I was like, ooh, I'm saving my money. Her cherries, oh, ain't taste like no other cherry I ever tasted anywhere. And I'm be like, I'm gonna save my dollar bills for that day she come back with the cherries. I'm be like, okay, what's the special deal if I get me some more? I'll have me a little cherry feast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's nutrition. It eliminates real well.
So yeah. So is there any other questions? Any other thoughts? I think we did a pretty good job of exorcising the concept of nutrition and elimination.
Did we have an exorcism of the nutrition?
Yeah, I think we had the yeah, I think we had the exorcism, and it's yeah, man. I just really still was a little surprised at how hard that theory is for people to let go of. Like that, they really have just jammed in that nutrition theory so deep that it's hard to, because even if you're into natural health or you're into alternative things or whatever, it's like you always want to bring that nutrition theory over that's based on pus eating. It's based on mucus eating. It's based on the eating of people that didn't know any. Yeah, I mean they really didn't know any better, but they were very pompous in thinking that, well, this is how we eat, so this must be how humans. This is the best. This is the absolute best way for humans to eat, and so they created an entire science that just supports that. And it's interesting. Definitely an interesting theory that has caused the death of a lot of people. It's a very deadly theory, and that's why I've always been so aggressive against it. Is really say get out the matrix. The foundation of a lot of that matrix thinking is protein, just such a fetish of protein. You know, this calorie concepts. It's all restrict your calories or get good calories, or don't get your gut bacteria. Get
your healthy fats in, right?
Yeah, get your healthy fats. Get your your vitamin. Drink the right water. It's all this, around the mulberry bush type of stuff.
Mulberries.
Yeah, where I grew, back in the backyard, there's always a bunch of mulberry. So around and like we said, it's look at the result. Today I was watching these videos of I don't know why I'm watching all these different videos of like some kid that was murdered homeless people, and then he was confessing to the cops like real proudly. He was just like, oh yeah, so this is like breaking down everything he was doing and his whole thought process, and like you said, find the cannibal, find the murderer and the rapist. Go find them that are eating nothing but fruits and green leafy vegetables for many, many years, and haven't really transitioned themselves off of pus and mucus forming foods. That type of behavior is not my thesis. That behavior is not going to be there. But until then, like we said, get out of the way when the murderer
jumping out the plane.
When the murderer, when the rapist run, get out the way. I try to get out their way, but for the folks that can't, it's you got to do the best you can to just get out the way, and hope that they don't hit that atomic bomb button. That they can at least keep, just keep it stable. Just keep it stable, sort of stable, stable as can be. Just don't leave the nuclear stuff alone, and let's try to kill a few less people.
They're not worried about the nuclear button because they're going to live on Mars now. Didn't you know? They're going to build a whole.
Yeah, the Mars and the moon, and they are always trying to get away from nature.
Right here,
like
right
it's
now.
like
It's
yeah. Like Earth isn't good enough. We want to
no. The one that's got all the green leafy plants and the fruit already. It's just too easy. All we got to do is just leave it alone, and it we just stop messing it up. You'd be surprised how quick the earth will fix itself. We just do the same to ourselves. Just get out the way. Stop putting all the poisons in, and you'd be surprised how quickly your body will heal.
Yep. And hey, if you want to prevent asteroids from hitting the Earth or doing away, we can do all that. You don't have to eat pus to do. We can still use some of this technology if we see, if there's a big rock coming for the Earth, let's deal with it. We don't got none right now, so we don't. We got a little while. We got to worry about that. But there's so much more that we'll be able to do once we really get the mind clear. Most people don't really know what that experience is like, to be clear, because as long as your mind is, that pig thing is grabbing a hold of you, and that that cow and all that stuff, like there's a clarity that you're not going to be gifted, and it's like you could have some clarity in other places. Your clarity of war strategy is really on point, but in terms of peace and tranquility and love and longevity. Yeah, it's not going to happen in pig land, and it's not going down. So yeah, I think this has been a good session. We made it to the 3-hour mark. I think that's respectable.
This was a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quickie.
We kept it for, the distracted folk. In case,
Man.
we're 4 or 5 hours.
We're doing
too
this
long.
for
We're
the
like,
real
okay, don't worry.
TikTok
This is for
generation.
TikTok.
Yeah. This is our version. Yeah, our version of a TikTok video. It's like 3 hours, not 4.
3 hours.
Let's just get it in quick and
You can condense it
My
down.
cheeks hurt.
Some light work.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah.
I needed this, guys. I really did. Thank you guys so much. This is just, I needed this kind of talk, man. My beat, maybe I was just anticipating it or something, and I was just, this is epic. I love these talks. I love this.
Let's do it again when we're all at a month into mucus-free. It's either going to be great or we're all going to be like debilitated.
Yeah, some of us will just be like messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking at Era Day we ought to do some kind of live stream again.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
With everybody.
Oh
There'd be
yeah.
a lot of people there. So
yeah, we'll definitely be doing that. Yeah, we're gonna come up with some fun stuff.
Well, I got a head start on you. I think I got about 3 months under my belt, so y'all better catch up. I don't want to hear no excuses. If you need to slow down, I got tips on that. You just let me know what you need. Oh man.
Yeah, should we share the Era Day location pictures?
Sure, why not? Oh man, I'm so looking forward to the in-person experience.
It's going to be unreal.
See,
The
I
kids
should
can't
bring up
wait.
the.
They cannot wait. They're so excited.
Or I'll let Brady. You want to bring it up? You can share it. Right?
you want me to pull up the invitation or just the?
You can pull up either one, either that or the Airbnb.
Monica flexing on us. Awesome.
Wow,
I have
he's
to
doing
thank
that.
Reese for that. Thank you, Reese. Reese, had you not taken me on that challenge with you last year, I had no idea of what I was capable of doing in my transition. Man, thank you, and Brady, for taking me on the journey with you and sharing that with me, because my physiology has been waiting. I just been avoiding it. The foods were already saying, please don't put me in, and I'm just like, but it tastes good. Ow, it hurts, but man, yeah, I've done leaps and bounds since then, realizing that I could harness this energy within myself and do whatever I need to do in my transition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was an epic journey.
Yeah, that challenge. This whole challenge is because of Reese and Brady, what they did last year, and then Monica too. But yeah, that the spirit of Reese is embody it this month, y'all.
Yeah, just give it a try. Do it at whatever pace you can. If it's even just a level closer to mucus-free than you've ever been, and just sustain that for the month. Try it completely mucus-free if you can. Obviously listen to your physiology. If it's not, reasonable for you, then do what you got to do. But give it a try. You know what I'm saying? You'll be surprised what you can do, and how good you might feel, or how much stuff will come out that you're surprised was in you. Talk about elimination.
So you
Says
got that
unable
up,
to share
Ray?
screen.
Huh.
You can pull it up.
Well, just yeah. Well, we'll send the or you could send that Airbnb. I just didn't know where that Airbnb link was anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't get in for some reason. To the
You couldn't
account.
get into.
No, just my account for some reason. Like, it won't load right now.
Mm. I'll bring up the.
Yeah, and I invite people, like, share your experiences, and of all people, on social media, right, Brady? Me, who is like social media illiterate, is like asking people to share your information. I'm gonna try to do so. Well, I'm going to do so myself. I'm not gonna say try, because that means I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it and share my experiences as well, some learnings along the way, and because it's important. You don't know what experiences you could be having that might help somebody else over a little hump, or give them an idea that they can run with as well. We're all here to help each other along this journey.
Check this place out, everybody. 6th annual Professor Arnold Heritage Celebration location. This place is baller. This thing is off the chain, man. It's like big, cabin mansion. This big mansion cabin. Yeah, this thing is off the chain.
Let's just not leave.
Yeah, it's like, can we let's just
keep it.
Like this is ours now.
See, I was asking, you're just saying it.
Yeah, this is cool. It's like on 6 or 7 acres of property.
I'm gonna go camping on there. I'll be in a tent. That's what I call glamorous right there. Wow, look at that patio.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're all excited. Yeah, the
morning sunbathing spot right there. See? And they have like a full playground. The kids were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go there."
And it's even
like a playground on there too.
Yeah. In this place, well, and then this doesn't even have. I don't know unless there's more pictures. I don't know if you had any of the. I mean, it's something. Was it like? It's like 9, 10 bedrooms or something. It's intense. But so yeah, so that's the location this year of this year's Arid Day celebration.
It will be christened with many enemas.
Oh, all day.
We'll set up the Kalima boards, Trey. We're gonna have one bathroom ready.
Right, yeah, all the all the mileage, the enema mileage. So, all right, everybody. Well, this has been a great conversation, as Miriam says. And definitely appreciate all of you for tuning in. And yeah, we got into some stuff. We definitely got into some stuff. And I just encourage everybody to, as you say, do your own research, think for yourself, work to clean up your colon and your gut, and then reap the rewards that you might not get immediately. This isn't a immediate gratification path. You got to go down the cocaine path and the McDonald's path if you want the immediate gratification type of path. This is a long-term fulfillment, soul fulfillment path. And I'd rather have that. I'd rather have the long-term soul fulfillment as opposed to the short-term serpent intestine type of fulfillment. And that's just
tortoise, the tortoise.
Yeah, exactly. The tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
This is definitely this is the tortoise path. And you got to really think like that. You got to bring that reasonableness and rational mindset into this practice, because when you don't, then you're going to find yourself strung out on, grapes somewhere when you need to be eating salads, and you'll be like, well, I'm eating nothing but grapes for however long. And it's like, okay, or are you gonna break your fast? You're gonna transition back, or he's like, no, I'm gonna eat this way the rest of my life. It's like the delusion and that delusional type of thing is really, really harmed a lot of people on this path. And as much as, you can look back to our old videos and all my old writings and on content. We've been very consistent in terms of the message. The message of transition has been very consistent. The way we express it might change or evolve over time, but the core message has always been the same, which is transition, transition, transition. Just in all things transition. You apply that principle, apply that understanding, it makes this process doable, sustainable, practical, rational. But without it, you just out here, you don't know what could happen. There's no control, no real nuance to this thing. It's just out here, here's the foods, these are bad, this is the food made for humans, so I'm gonna just eat this and this for the rest of my life. And it's like, need a little bit more nuance and strategy generally is required if you really want to be successful on this path. And so I want to thank everybody that's here on the panel today. Everybody give it up for Trayvond, JC, Brady, and Monica. Give it up. And
Professor Spira.
Yeah.
Oh,
God knows why.
Yeah. So this has been fun session. And I invite everybody. We have meetups, or should I say, call it a greet up? We have greet ups every Wednesday at 8:00 Eastern time. They're totally free, and you just gotta be plugged in. If you want the link, sign up. We send out the link to anybody signed up for for our list for the Mucus-free Life newsletter list. And so and I encourage people to come, and it's been really cool and nice and consistent. Folks have been coming, and you got different. I always enjoy the diversity of our community. There's a lot of diversity of people from different walks of life and different ages and different belief systems and all that stuff that's coming to the same place around physiological liberation pursuit. I mean, that's the one thing that we all can unite around is physiological liberation. But it's definitely a forum, a place where folks, ideas are being worked through and worked on, and discussions and debates, and we have folks with their with their sponsors and showing up to the meetings, and it'd be like I almost relapsed, and I came to the Wednesday meetup and got some help from the sponsors, and so it's a great thing. So I encourage folks to come to that, and we got a lot of other things that's coming down the pipe, as you saw, just in case anybody was interested. So soon we will be opening the doors to Mucus-free Social, and that's where this was at. This was on a very special section of Mucus-free Social, but in case I think we showed some of this before, but just yeah, there we go. So we give a shout out to JC, making some nice cover art. The Mucus-free Social here, but this is gonna be the hub. So soon, this is gonna be the spot. Come on in. It's like you want to get away from the toxicity of the YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, especially Facebook. Then come on, this is where we're going to be at. It's over here. And so the opportunity to join will be coming down the pike shortly. So stay tuned for that and be ready to experience a mucus-free social environment, a place where you can, what they say, where everybody knows your name, where you can feel comfortable eating fruits and vegetables, doing your enemas. You can put up pictures of mucoid plaque that came out, and everybody understands what's going on, and that perspective, and so this is something special. And yeah, Brady's been working hard on this, and this is all brought to you by the Mucus-free Research and Development Team. Everybody on here on this call is on the Research and Development Team and Community Development Team, and there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, and so hopefully you will all see it very soon. You'll be able to really appreciate and see what's happening, what's being built, and to be a part of it, be a part of this movement, be a part of the weakening of the serpent. We got our work to do to throw enough lemon juice on the serpent to that it loses its power over us, and we can start to really reclaim our humanity. We've let this thing run amok. We let this where they rationalizing war, rationalizing killing people, rationalizing genocide, like, oh, that's just human nature. No, it's not human nature. It's pus nature. It's pus and mucus nature. Don't confuse any of this with human nature. It's not. And so we will do our part, our share for cleaner air. We're going to do our little part to try to rectify this damage that humans have done. to this planet and to something that's really nice, that could be really, really a beautiful situation. And we've soiled it because we lost control. You know, serpent took over. So yeah. So any last words? Any you guys have any final thoughts?
I do have one thing. He was showing off Mucus-free social. This next video is by far my favorite video, and it's only possible because Spira didn't want us to gatekeep the recipe. So in the future, there's gonna be some bangers, some mucus-free bangers y'all are not gonna know of. Y'all will never have unless you join the club. So watch that video, try out the recipe. I promise you, it'll change everything.
Shouldn't be giving this one out, but
we wanted to, but Spira's heart is.
Don't agree with that.
May 1st is when it airs.
Okay.
First day of the challenge.
Yeah.
Whip it up. You're gonna need
And Brady and Trayvond and Spira already got to taste it firsthand from the chef herself.
Right.
When I debuted it at Aaron Day last year, I was just like, they had a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna make a sauce for the kids, and I made one blender full, and everyone's like, oh, that should be plenty, and I'm thinking in my head, oh, these people got no idea what
right.
Like they came back with more tomatoes, more ingredients. Can you make more of that?
Yeah. Yep.
Because I was like, man, my kids could pound that whole thing by themselves, and you think that's enough for everyone? But I just giggled inside. I just giggled inside and watched it play out, and yes.
You're making more again this year, right?
It's a good, yes, definitely.
Yeah. That stuff was incredible.
With some baked zucchini.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our gift to the world, to the community. We're putting the video out and the recipe, and there it is. Y'all can have it, and then just like JC said, just think of us when we do have Mucus-free social opens up. Then if you want more of that, come on over.
And it's coming out for the perfect time for Mucus-free May. We didn't even plan it that way. So,
that's right, huh?
It's coming out for the perfect time.
That's gonna help a lot of people through Mucus-free May.
Yeah, the perfect kickoff. Yep.
Use it. I'm telling you, it will serve you well.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Any other final thoughts?
You don't need protein.
Man, I love you.
Yeah, for me, man, I feel like this discussion was more like although we're saying like nutrition versus elimination, it felt more like nature versus like manipulation. Like,
oh, that's a good one. I like that.
That's what it felt like it was for me. Just like, man, either we're doing a natural thing or we're not. Like, you're either getting caught up in one reality or the other. So it's kind of how I just
like
processed
that. Nature versus
manipulation.
Wow, that's deep. I like that one. Ooh, I'm gonna sit with that for a minute.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's the truth right there.
Yeah, Mariam's just been eating dry baked broccoli with no seasoning or nothing. She needs some red pepper sauce.
Oh man, that'll transform that broccoli.
Yeah.
Ooh, just dip it in.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a lovely evening. And go down below, click the like, click the share button. It helps us spread this information far and wide. And because the algorithm generally doesn't want to help us, so we ask for you to help us out. And just keep on transitioning and eating in such a way that helps you eliminate all the putrid abominations that have gotten lodged in your system. And let's transition back to a semblance, not only a semblance of what we once were, but I think we can get even better because we will bring this knowledge with us, the knowledge of what not to do again. And so I think that's very important. That makes the work that we're doing and what we're trying to do very important, because we want to go through this process and then bring that knowledge and that experience with us so that no other human has to go through this ever again. Let's let us be the last ones that have to go down to the depths of this type of despair and pain and unnecessary process, which I like is the definition of chaos. So we no longer need it. So yeah, so until next time, peace, love, and breath.
Peace.
We are mucus free. 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 We are mucus free.